do that, but about once every other year or so. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well this evening. Since we haven't had selection of the chair and vice chair for 2016 yet, I'll call us into closed meeting and read us in. Be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors hereby enters into closed meeting for the purpose of discussing the following. Section 2.2-3711, subsection 7, consultation with legal counsel and briefings from staff members or consultants pertaining to actual or probable litigation where such consultation or briefing in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body, and consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring provision of legal advice by such counsel, and that is for the Mountain Valley Charitable Foundation, Shawsville Middle School athletic facilities. Also, section 2.2-3711, subsection 3, discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for public purpose or for the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. Under that section, we have the former Blacksburg Middle School property and the former Blacksburg High School property. Lastly, under section 2.2-3711, subsection 1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining or resignation of specific officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. And that's for consideration for the Parks and Recreation Commission. Do I have a motion to go into work session?
Motion. Or second.
I have a motion and a second.
That'd be closed session. I think you said work session.
Okay, well, let's go into closed session instead. Is that okay? All right, would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Ms. DeMoss?
For the reasons stated at last Monday's meeting and as indicated on the written statement of disclosure I provided to the board clerk to be included in the board minutes, I will be abstaining from any discussion and decision-making on the old Blacksburg Middle School site RFP process, and aye.
Okay. Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Thank you. We're in closed session. If we could, folks, we'll go ahead and get started. Do I have a motion to come out of work session?
Or close.
I did it again.
Closed session. I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Come out of closed session. Thank you.
Second.
All right. Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Okay. Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Ms. DeMoss?
Yes, however, for the time I was there, I did not participate in or remain in the closed meeting on the RFP discussion on the old Blacksburg Middle School site because I have abstained for the reasons previously stated and submitted into the record due to a conflict of interest.
Okay. Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Ms. Biggs,
Do you want
may
to?
I add to mine that for the time I was there, I was not there the whole time. Thank you.
All right. If we could, I have a certification of closed meeting, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Montgomery County, Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed at in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion conveying the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the board. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye, for the
Mr.
time I
Mott?
was there.
Ms. DeMoss?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Thank you. At this point, as county administrator, I'm leading the meeting tonight until the board goes through the process of selecting a chair and vice chair. At this time, we have a time of invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation is a moment of silence that we observe to consider the duties of the day and the things that are before us this evening. And after a few moments of silence, I'll lead the group in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could all stand, and I'll lead in the pledge in just a moment after this. Let us pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Our first item of business this evening, since this is our organizational meeting for calendar year 2016, is the selection of a chair for the Board of Supervisors for the upcoming year. At this point, I would open the floor for nominations for consideration for chair.
Yes, I would like to nominate Christopher Tuck to the chair.
All right, have a nomination for Supervisor Tuck.
And given her many years of dedicated service and thoughtful leadership in the vice chair position, I would like to nominate Supervisor Mary Biggs for chair.
Have a nomination for Supervisor Biggs. Are there other nominations for board chair? All right. Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Second.
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Okay. Mr. Creed, this is to close the nominations.
So close nominations.
Yes.
To close nominations. Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins? Aye. Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right. The first nomination we have for the board to consider is for Supervisor Tuck as chair. Vicki, would you call the roll, please?
I will. Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
No.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
No.
Mr. Motts?
No.
Mr. Tuck?
Aye.
Have 4 ayes, 3 no.
All right. With that, Supervisor Tuck is elected chair for 2016. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And at this point, we will...
Sorry.
Do you want to, as chair, do you want to rearrange seats, or do you want to call vice chair from there?
I'm happy to call vice chair, and then we can talk about where we all want to sit and move around from there. I would start off, is there a nominations in regards, well, before I go to that, a few things I want to say as chair. And one, I've had 2 great examples in the last 4 years of what it takes to be a chair and allowing other board members to be able to express their ideas and not cut them off and try to utilize their experiences to help our county move forward. Our former chair, Bill Brown, used to refer to the board as basically a heart, and each one of the districts represent a separate chamber. It will be my goal to make sure that we all beat as one, and that what's good for one district is good for all of us. And so I will try to do my best to be fair and follow in Bill's and Jim's footsteps. That being said, is there a motion in regards to nominations for a vice chair?
In the interest of leadership continuity and in the promotion of bipartisanship for the good of the residents of Montgomery County, I would like to nominate Supervisor Mary Biggs for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Gary Creed.
Is there any further nominations? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the nominations?
Moved.
Second.
If the clerk would please call the roll.
Okay, this is to close nominations. Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms.
Excuse me.
Perkins?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Wow, Chair Tuck, first time you said that.
7 ayes.
I believe Mr. Mott's motion was the first motion, and that's the way we took it up the last time. So if we could take up that motion in regards to Mary Biggs being the vice chair.
Okay. Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
No.
Mr. Creed?
No.
Mr. King?
No.
Ms. Perkins? This is to nominate Ms. Biggs.
Yes.
Ms. Biggs?
Yes.
Chair Tuck?
No.
I have 3 ayes, 4 no.
In regards to, we would take up the motion in regards to nominate Gary Creed.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
No.
Ms. Biggs?
No.
Mr. Motts?
No.
Chair Tuck?
Yes.
4 ayes, 3 no.
Now, that being said, typically we have had the chair and vice chair sit together as far as, and the chair, the county administrator sit beside the chair. As far as I'm concerned, does anybody have any seating preferences or the like? And the one thing I would take into consideration in that, sometimes I think it would be perhaps easier for you to get in and out on that side where there's the ramp rather than the stairs. Is that, or are you happy where you're at?
Well, actually, it would be easier for me, but I hate to move away from our county administrator. I feel chained to him up here. No, I will be happy to move down wherever Mr. Todd is. King, who are you? That's right, I forgot your name. No, where Todd is, or that would be fine.
Well, like I said, I'm happy to, is there
You gotta
any
move.
other seating? I've got to move, and Gary's got to move, but other than that, is there any other seating preferences?
I'm gonna sit and watch.
Okay, you just watch us play.
I get to sit and watch.
Well, whoever I sit next to, you just gotta behave. You gotta behave.
You want my seat?
Yeah, I'll be back. Where are we going? Are you coming down?
I guess you're sitting here.
I'll take your hand. I don't want y'all to put me. It's not fair.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Help me out. Right, you're here. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Right
I gotta thank Chris for the padding already.
Yeah.
What's that now?
Thank you for the padding already.
I know, I'm going to have to make modifications on the center ones now as well. I don't know if you remember the first, after the first time I padded the bars.
All right. Is that the way to go?
That gift down there. Farrell. Let's give that to you, Earl.
Oh,
Boy, I tell you, is this a rose between 2 thorns? I love her.
Now, does this chair not work?
I love it. It's not as bad as the thorns I was sitting between.
It was.
It does not work. Gotta get this down.
Got it. Now raise it.
I put that down, Ms. Biggs.
Yeah, now that you
It's for short-legged people.
folks, I appreciate your patience. Obviously, this is our organizational meeting, and we're going through a process, and thank you for your patience. It looks like the next matter up is in regards to organizational matters.
Yes, sir. The next item is selection of regular meeting date. You have a resolution to consider the second and fourth Monday of each month. That has been our tradition, and we schedule closed sessions at 6 o'clock if they're required, and as you're aware, we can modify that if needed based on the information. But then our regular meeting time would be at 7:15. Also, it's important to note, especially with some of the weather forecast we're hearing for the next couple of weeks, should the chair decide that the weather or the conditions are such that it's hazardous for members to attend meetings, the regular meeting is continued to the following Monday. And we always, through the media and our website, let folks know if that were to be the case. But you're being asked basically to reaffirm our current schedule of second and fourth Mondays, 6 o'clock closed session, 7:15 regular meeting.
Is there a motion in regards to adopt this?
So moved.
Second.
Will the clerk, we need to call a roll on this?
Yes, we do. Okay. Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
I gotta admit, I'm still, that chair tuck part is,
I'll nudge you if you...
Don't start if I give Chair Brown every once in a
well,
while.
I'll take that as a compliment. Rules of order and parliamentary procedures.
Mr. Chair, this is just to adopt the rules of order and parliamentary procedure for the board for the calendar year 2016. This was included in your packet as tab C, and there are no changes from the rules of order from prior years. It's just to reaffirm our statement.
Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct.
Again, this is an item that is regularly adopted by the board at the beginning of each year. Under tab D was a copy of the Code of Ethics and Standard of Conduct that the board has abided by for many years. This is just to reaffirm that code and standards of conduct for the upcoming calendar year.
Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion.
Second.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Well, now we get on with the regular meeting. It
Yes,
looks
sir.
like that, Mr. Clark, I know I saw you here. If you would come up and make a presentation on behalf of VDOT.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening to the new board members. I'm David Clark. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the resident engineer for the Virginia Department of Transportation. If you're not familiar with where my office is, it's over close to the Christiansburg Rec Center. And out of that office, the lot there behind there covers all of Montgomery County, but I'm also responsible administratively for Giles, Pulaski, and Floyd County as well. In case we all didn't realize how our organization is. That's called a residency office, and the VDOT Local Assistance Division publishes a Board of Supervisors manual each year. I was going to print one up and bring it, and the one I printed up was fine until they updated it and sent that update out yesterday. So rather than give you the old one, I'll bring the new one. I'll probably bring, I think I've given the other board members one before. What I'll do is I'll bring the new one each for the new board members, and I'll bring a separate one for the county administrator. And if you need to make further copies, you can do that. It's also online as well under local assistance. And it talks about, it's a general sort of introduction to VDOT, how some of our programs that affect the county's work, the 6-year plan, the revenue sharing program, which Montgomery County is very heavily involved in with revenue sharing. That's where the county puts up some money, VDOT matches it for small to medium-sized projects, and Montgomery County has really done a lot of good work with the revenue sharing program. It's a good reference for things that VDOT does, and it'll give you a good starting point. And if either the new board members or anyone else, for that matter, wants to meet with me, I'll be glad to meet any time of the day. We can just sort of talk about road issues if you like. So just to let you all know. I generally come up and give a little update on what VDOT, our crew's been doing in Montgomery County. This past month, of course, has been a month of a lot of holidays, vacations, and things like that. We've also been, when we have been able to work, we've been fortunate with the weather. Most of it hasn't been raining a lot. It's been fairly warm. We were able to do some patching, including some heavy patching on Ellett Road, which we've only been able to get to a little bit of, but the section there right near the town line of Christiansburg, we were able to get. It was kind of rough. Besides that, we've still been doing some flood repair from way back from the floods in September. Mount Pleasant Road, that was a road we've done. That was not a revenue sharing project. That was a regular 6-year plan project, but just about the time we finished it up, flood tore it out, and they tore out Brush Creek Road, which was a revenue sharing project. But we've got those mostly patched back together. Still working on some things on Laurel Ridge Road. There's a major pipe washout there. We did a pipe replacement on Cape Carriagebrook Road, pipe cleaning and repair on Fisher's View and Sydney Church. We've done some pothole patching as well on Lester's Gate, some shoulder work, and some brush cutting on Fire Tower Road. Sort of just general maintenance, just trying to keep up with things. The projects that are going on, you've got some major projects really going on in the county. A couple major secondary road projects. Route 603 North Fork Road between 81 and Route 11 is progressing. Of course, it's still on schedule. It's closed right now, as we had talked about. It was planned to be closed for almost a year, but they're on schedule to reopen that this spring. I'll let you know as we get closer to the date when that will open. Route 600 Piney Woods Road is also still under construction, but again, it's a paving of an unpaved road, and you don't get a lot of good work done in the kind of weather we've had, so they've just been doing a lot of grading, getting the slopes ready, and hopefully we'll be ready to put some stone down and pave it here in the spring. It's a long project, so that's a big project, and I know the residents out there have been going through a lot with the road being torn up and muddy from end to end, but we can get through this spring with that. We will see a hard surface on that road sometime this summer. Of course, the major project is there at Virginia Tech, the interchange and the 460 bypass and the new South Gate, and that's going to be ongoing for several more years now. So included in that is the extension of the airport and runway, and the relocation of Research Center Drive around by the corporate research center, 2 roundabouts that will go in there, and relocation of the Huckleberry Trail. There's a whole lot going on in that project rather than just building an interchange. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts in there, a lot of people, whether it be moving by air, bike, walking, and so forth through there. So it's very complicated, and you'll see that in the fact that it'll seem like it's going on forever, but it's going to be a long project, and we knew that up front. But 600 and 603 should be done this summer. That's, again, North Fork Road and Piney Woods Road. I received a letter, and I believe the board members also were copied on this from the county administrator on some concerns at exit 109 and 81, and we will be able to probably work and address most of those. It will require some traffic engineering coordination to change that yield, that stop sign to a yield. Coming off the ramp southbound, you come on to Tyler Avenue. A long time ago it was a yield. Generally at most places it is a yield. It was looked at, changed to a stop. We're not sure if that's maybe not the safest one, and the request was to maybe look at that and see if that's possible to put a yield sign back there instead of the stop. But the other things that they were talking about is maybe marking the access road into the travel center. We can certainly do that. And then as we get closer to spring, we're doing some more brush cutting. We'll get the tree that appears to be blocking sight distance on the northbound side. So just to let the county know, I did get that letter. We will be addressing those concerns. We have every spring we do have our secondary 6-year plan public hearing. Last year you had it in April, and if that's okay with the board, we'll go ahead and do it in April again this year. What that means is I'll put some ads in the newspaper, and we'll hold a public hearing to see how you want to prioritize the roads in the 6-year plan. There aren't many roads in there because we're still not getting a lot of nearly the funding we got 15, 20 years ago. But there is some, and we're looking basically at Yellow Sulphur Road and Sydney Church Road. That's the 2 major roads in your 6-year plan. We're getting a little bit more money for safety type of improvement, safety and operational things. And one thing I'll go ahead and throw out right now is that we're going to go ahead and look at a concern that Mr. King had about the low water bridge on Fairview Church Road. We'll get an estimate on that, and if the board chooses, we can maybe put some bigger pipe in there and raise that road up a little bit. Fairview Church Road is quite a bit of traffic on it. It's subject to a low water bridge. That means, you know, you get any kind of high water you get, it's designed to flow over top, but basically the road is closed. So, but before the board has to make a decision on whether to put that on a 6-year plan, we'll do a little preliminary engineering, find out what kind of pipe we would need to get some kind of benefit from that, and that may be something that we can do without really affecting the other 2 things in the 6-year plan. So, more information on that will be coming. That's about all I have as far as updates from last time. I'd be glad to take any requests or questions the board might have.
Start now at this end. Mr. King, do you have any questions?
Just got a couple. First and foremost, I want to tell you how much I appreciate what you and VDOT does for Montgomery County. I really appreciate that. They had out there on Brush Creek Road, they come out the other day and graded a little bit, and I had several calls today on that. If somebody could go out there and look, they said they didn't get all the ruffles out of the road. They just crossed it one time and left. And out on Union Valley Road, had several calls on that last week. Is there any way we can get some out there to cut the brush off the top? You got some pretty good sized limbs hanging out in the road, and that road's narrow, so the people with trailers and all can't get over out of the way the limbs, and they're tearing their campers and stuff up.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at that. We have a brush cutting program. It's hard to get everything, but we'll put that on the list to make sure we, when we do start doing some brush cutting, we'll get that.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. Perkins, did you have any questions?
No, thank you.
Mr. Creed?
Yeah, I got a statement and then maybe a question or so. Willis Hollow Road. You had a young man go down there, had no experience, and...
Hey, Gary, if you would talk into your mic, there you go. No, it's just turn it more towards you. There you go.
that, okay. Not used to all that close-up stuff. Willis Hollow Road, you had a young man go down there with not much experience. Guess what? People said he did the best job that has ever been done on that road. So wherever he came from, keep him. He did an outstanding job. The only other thing that I had, and it's not a great big deal, I asked you to look at something last month that I didn't realize had already been done, and it has been done there in front of Hale's Restaurant, across the road.
Got some of the shoulders.
It had been done for quite a little while. My P's and Q's were mixed up. And the place that they're asking to get fixed is where you come out of Shawsville on 11460, and just before you get to Friendship, there are some pretty heavy grooves, not nearly as many as there was at the other place when it was really needing them, but that's all I have, and thank you very much for the young man that you got, and hope you keep.
I'll find out who that is for sure. Thank you.
Ms. Biggs?
I don't, but she does, yeah.
First, Mr. Clark, it's very nice to meet you. I look forward to hearing from you regularly. I do have a question, or more of a, I guess, an informational or desire. I'm the representative from District G, which has the interchange at North Main and 460. I actually have to drive that way to come to every meeting here, so I've been taking that left turn quite frequently. Just wondered if there were any plans for additional improvements at that interchange, or if the recent improvements were all that is scheduled.
That's all that's scheduled at the moment. The town of Blacksburg did put in a request for some more improvements there to our primary, this is our primary 6-year plan project list. Those, it's a brand new system. It's called House Bill 2 because the General Assembly passed a bill to evaluate projects on what is hopefully a more objective criteria than we ever used before, evaluating on points for safety, and there's a whole statewide criteria that they're looking at so they can better evaluate projects against each other. And so that was that was submitted, it would require and involve closing some left turn lanes, because it's just tough to, left turns from North Main Street, just because it's just getting so much traffic in there. They're coming so fast down the mountain and everything. Short of a major interchange, that's about all you can try to do. Those projects haven't been scored, haven't been evaluated yet, so as soon as we know what's going on with that, we'll let you know. And that's one of the projects that came through the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, because it's within the Metropolitan Planning Organization's area. So the project came through there, got their endorsement. Blacksburg's on that in that organization, as is the county and Christiansburg and Radford, and actually parts of Fairlawn as well. So there's a large process that's still in the very early stages. If it's not chosen, we may try to look at something else, and there'll be more opportunities under this House Bill 2 funding situation to ask for more projects next fall. So
Thank you.
I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Mr. Shepherd?
I do have one. Mine's not nearly as big as that one, I don't think. I've had several concerns about the speed limit on Merrimack Road. I'm in District E, and there's a large portion of that road that's 35 mile an hour, and then it says that speed limit ends. And there's a one-lane bridge in that higher speed limit, and I was just wondering if there had been any studies or if there was something we could do to look at that.
I'll check and see when that last study was done, and it may be that it's been a while and traffic has increased, and if you'd like, we can take a look at extending that speed limit if appropriate.
I drive a school bus, and I come through there about 4 times a day, and sometimes it gets a little hairy.
Right.
And
That's
there has been
right.
additional developments with Huckleberry
There
Ridge
is, yes.
that has put a lot more traffic.
More traffic.
on that road.
Montgomery County has traditionally had a process. It's not required by VDOT, but VDOT usually we get requests for speed limits quite a bit. Sometimes we get them from private citizens who call us up or write us a letter, and you can do a speed study and put a speed limit up on the road that makes one person that called you in happy, not realizing that you've made a whole lot of people upset. So for some isolated type of things, the county, VDOT has usually said, we'd like the county to ask us. So when a citizen calls us asking for a speed limit, I'll say, please go through your Board of Supervisors member, and we'll bring it up before the board. And if the board asks me to do a speed limit, then it's sort of more of a collaborative effort than us just taking requests from citizens all throughout the area. Now the board has taken, this is not a requirement of VDOT, the board has typically required in the past that if a citizen calls the board and asks for a speed limit, the board has asked that citizen to get a petition together and get signatures from a majority of the people that live on the road. And that was generally for more local type roads, subdivisions, main streets through subdivisions. Not to speak for the board and people who've gone through this in the past, but Merrimack Road is probably a little bit different than your average subdivision. I can do the speed limit without going through what the board has been through before as far as a petition. I know it would be very hard to get a petition for the people who live on Merrimack. So if the board would like, I'll proceed with that without its standard petition, since it's basically somewhat like Price's Fork Road. It's not really it's almost a primary road. It's sort of a through connector. I don't know how the board feels about that, but I think it would, just my own personal opinion, it would be a little difficult to try to get a petition together.
Is there a consensus in regards to the board? I guess if they see thumbs for a speed study.
You're good? Okay, then I'll go
So
ahead
we're
and
good.
proceed with that without the board's standard petition
Thank you,
process.
Dave.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
As far as Ellett Road, thank you. The citizens who have been bringing it to my attention indicated that after one of the meetings, it started getting paved, and it's fantastic right now. I want to thank you for that. I don't know if you recall, several meetings back, you mentioned yellow sulfur about doing 2/10 from there. Has that begun, or is
It's
that?
done.
It's done.
It's done.
Okay, because I haven't been down there, so
Yep.
we're good. Okay.
We did just let the board know, remind the board we were able to have enough good weather to do 0.2 of a mile on the Blacksburg end of the Old Sulphur Road. We paved it, it's just a surface street, just a tar and gravel surface street, but it goes down to, there's that short little bridge just past where the old resort is. I'm hoping that we can do something very similar without a lot of grading work on the next 0.3, maybe sometime this spring and summer.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Mr. Clark, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
The next matter up on our agenda is Parents Advisory and Advisory Council of Southwest Virginia. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to come here today. Appreciate it very much. My name is Teresa Behringer. I'm a resident of Tazewell County, and I live in Bluefield, Virginia. And I'm president of PAC, which is the Parents Advisory and Advocacy and Advisory Council of Southwest Virginia Training Center. We are the parents group. I'd like to start by just giving you some background information, and then we have a short video I'd like for you all to see, if that's okay.
That is perfectly acceptable.
The DOJ entered into an agreement with the state of Virginia, mainly based on some actions that took place. So I'll go through those pretty quickly. On August 21st, 2008, the DOJ initiated an investigation into Central Virginia Training Center, which is located in Lynchburg, Virginia. A family member filed a complaint with the DOJ that their IDD person was capable of living in a community setting yet remained in the training center. On April 21st, the DOJ put Virginia on notice that the DOJ was expanding its investigation to include all 5 of the training centers, of which Southwest Virginia Training Centers is in Hillsville and includes Montgomery County residents. On February 10, 2011, the DOJ issued findings that Virginia was not doing enough to move the training center residents into community settings. On January 26, the DOJ settlement agreement with Commonwealth was signed. August 23rd, Judge Gibney issued a ruling. His ruling made it clear that Virginia need not close the training centers. Nothing in the degree the DOJ settlement agreement compels Virginia to close any facility. Decisions of that sort lie with the General Assembly and the Governor. And if it deems wise, the General Assembly or the Governor can appropriate funds to continue to operate some or all of the training centers, even while funding the Medicaid waivers. Our previous governor signed a ruling that all but one of the training centers would remain closed. One would remain open, 4 would remain closed. And these individuals would be moved into the community from which they're from. This is not a requirement under the settlement agreement. The agreement states that individuals and or their legal guardians can choose a training center environment for that individual. The training center that was proposed to stay open and will stay open as far as we know at this time is Southeastern Virginia Training Center. It's in Chesapeake, Virginia, has 75 beds, of which our latest information said 69 are filled, and there's no room for expanding on that training center where it's located in Chesapeake. This is too far for the families of Southwest Virginia to drive and visit their loved ones. Our current governor could reverse this procedure with a stroke of his pen, and that's what we're working on now. We're trying to get resolutions from all the counties and 4 cities that's represented by the Southwest Virginia Training Center. Virginia Code 37.2.837A3 states that people can have the choice of a training center. Pursuant to regulations of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services and the Department of Medical Assistance Services, no consumer at a training center who is enrolled in Medicaid shall be discharged if the consumer or his legal authorized representative on his behalf chooses to continue receiving services in a training center. If Southwest Virginia Training Center closes, the localities of where the people are from will be responsible for their needs and to make sure that their care is as good as or better than what they're receiving now at the training center. SB 627, 2015, that the Department of Behavior Health and Developmental Services shall, before transferring any training center resident to another training center or community-based care, provide written certification to such training center resident or his legal representative that his quality of care will be the same as or better. And some of the care that they receive now is 24-hour medical and nursing care. There's a doctor there on staff. There's nursing on staff 24/7. The doctor's in the office Monday through Friday and on call. They also have pharmaceutical services, 24-hour direct care services, because all of the people, the residents there, they have to have 24/7 care. Occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, dental services, neurology, dietary, community involvement, including but not limited to work possibilities, trips, volunteer work, and other activities that enhances their lives. So this is a little bit of background just before you all see the video. The DVD will show you 5 residents, and those 5 residents have family that are involved in their life continually. A lot of the residents at the training center are older. They're all adults. They're older without family members available to them anymore. So please keep that in mind as you watch the video.
I think there's a mouse down there.
It's not a touch screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
we ain't got that quite that sophisticated
That's
yet.
okay. I watched him and I still.
There you go. And you can full screen it up at the top. Right there.
Southwestern Virginia Training Center in Hillsville opened May 3rd, 1976, when 100 residents transferred from Central Virginia Training Center. In the beginning, the facility worked as it was intended. Over the years, the medical services increased to meet the needs of residents with more complicated health and behavioral conditions. In other words, what was supposed to happen, happened. Individuals with higher level of needs were admitted. Individuals with mild or moderate disabilities were discharged to more appropriate services in the community. Today, SWVTC is a self-contained community providing specialized services to approximately 124 residents. This care includes a physician on site weekdays and on call 24/7, nursing and direct care 24 hours daily, an on-site medical clinic serving residents followed by neurology, psychology, and psychiatry. Our fully equipped dental clinic is utilized by these individuals who have long been underserved. Residents no longer travel for hours to facilities for individualized medical care. Should an emergency occur, medical staff from the center stay with the resident until they're transported to the emergency room. Familiar staff remain with that person until treatment occurs. In a community setting, these same disabled individuals would be totally dependent upon volunteer rescue squads. SWVTC is fully integrated into the community's social life and activities. Hundreds of volunteers and numerous clubs offer recreational and entertainment opportunities. But more importantly, they encourage socialization with non-disabled peers. Residents travel to Southwest Virginia Farmers Market and Kaleidoscope Gift Shop, where they work with the public to sell handmade items. Merchandise includes a varied assortment: tie-dye t-shirts, Jordan papers, and organic dog bones. Now, let's meet some of our residents. They represent a cross-section of the general population residing and calling this place home. Kevin has severe autism. Just because he looks normal, people expect him to react to social situations in so-called normal, acceptable ways. Sometimes this gets him into trouble. Prior to coming to Southwestern Virginia Training Center, Kevin was in several community settings. During a group home outing in another county, there was a misunderstanding, and so he had to go to another placement. In yet another setting, Kevin was transported from one facility to another, wearing shackles on both his feet and hands. This was devastating not only to Kevin, but his entire family. Kevin has made so much progress since 1998 when he began living at SWVTC. He now considers it home. Employees and peers have become his extended family. Supervised employment and satisfying jobs foster his individual accomplishment and self-esteem. Staff said he looks forward to his paycheck. Enjoyable activities include swimming at the Wellness Center, picnic and trips, and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut, all are among his favorites. Change is extremely difficult for individuals with autism. Kevin has a loving, extended family, and they are involved to come to see him every weekend and already drive almost 2 hours. If forced to travel more, timely visits would become impossible. Hampton is shown here enjoying the swing of the fenced-in backyard behind his cottage. He's been diagnosed with profound mental retardation, autism, and a seizure disorder. Because he does not understand or even recognize danger, he requires a safe environment with an awake, alert staff 24 hours a day. He is nonverbal, does not do well with unfamiliar employees or too many changes in a short period of time. When he meets his mom for lunch in Galax, 2 male staff members go with him. Sometimes Hampton doesn't realize his own strength, especially when he's holding hands with a woman and squeezes too hard, often leaving bruises. This is Jocelyn, and she's nonverbal. She's totally dependent on others for her basic needs such as hygiene, bathing, dressing, taking medication, and eating. Her food is pureed in the cafeteria and is the consistency of baby food. Sometimes thickener is added by staff at the table to keep her from choking. She is shown here in protected gear to keep her head in an upright position. As you can tell, she is a camera ham as she posed for her pictures. Her mother tells us, "I can sleep at night knowing she is watched by caring, dedicated staff. It would be heartbreaking to think of Southwestern Virginia Training Center closing." Let's meet Scott. He has severe cerebral palsy, as well as profound levels of intellectual and developmental disabilities. Being nonverbal, he is totally dependent on others to take care of him. Holding and shaking a noisemaker seems to give him both comfort and enjoyment. The staff must use the handicap-accessible lift to get him into and out of bed. He uses a wheelchair which was measured by a physical therapist and manufactured to his specific needs. Scott has his own room where he watches his big screen TV. He's been at SWVTC for the past several years and seems happy. Shown here with his father, Doug participates in the training center's recycling program and helps make organic dog biscuits. These are 2 of the products manufactured by residents and are showcased at the farmers market and the Kaleidoscope gift shop. Doug is autistic and nonverbal. People on the autism spectrum need their days to be scheduled and for programs and meals to happen at the same time each day. He's been at the center for several years now and content in his life, which provides both quality and stability. He enjoys walks with his dad and familiar staff. Not only are the walkways paved, but they are extended around the entire facility, allowing him easy access to exercise in a safe environment. Amber is shown here with her sister as they celebrated a traditional Thanksgiving meal at their parents' home in Woodlawn. She enjoyed visiting with family members, including her niece and nephew and elderly grandfather. 2 staff from the Southwestern Virginia Training Center transported Amber in one of the handicapped accessible vans. Amber has lived in these familiar surroundings for the past 20 years, due in part to cerebral palsy, mental retardation, and severe unpredictable seizures. A VNS device similar to a pacemaker has been surgically implanted. Amber requires 24-hour care and depends on trained staff to swipe the implant during a seizure. Amber cannot feed, bathe, or dress herself. She cannot walk independently and requires a lift to transfer her from wheelchair to bed. But she is very intelligent and understands what others say to her. At one time, Amber spoke in sentences before years of uncontrolled seizures took this ability away from her. Despite her challenges, Amber participates twice a month in swimming at the Carroll County Wellness Center. She is shown using the lift as a heated therapy pool with the help of 2 recreational therapists. Unable to use her arms and legs due to spastic muscles, the warm water allows Amber buoyancy and free movement to exercise. She extends her hands and arms and uses her legs as if she's riding a bicycle in the water. as Carroll County's second largest employer, if SWVTC closes, it will have a devastating impact on local economy. Job opportunities and community links that the center provides and have worked so hard to build will disappear. As an intermediate care facility, when the following statistics were released in a Virginia Training Center Demographics and Services Report. Our population at the time was 133. Of these 133 individuals, there were 45 with epilepsy, 33 with cerebral palsy, 26 with autism, 72 were receiving medication for psychiatric disorders, 106 had multiple disabilities, and 108 required supervision or assistance with activities of daily living. Olmsted embraces individual choice according to need. Families and legal guardians should be primary decision makers, yet we're not being heard. The decision to close our training center was an executive decision by our previous governor. With the stroke of a pen, our current governor could easily change this outcome. GALACs in the Twin Counties have welcomed our disabled population with open arms and hearts. Before we cause irreversible harm to Virginia's most vulnerable population, let's join together to keep our training center open.
Thank you all very much for allowing us to show our DVD. At this time, I'd like to answer any questions you might have, and our hope today is to ask you all to adopt a resolution just to support our endeavor to keep it open, since Montgomery County is one of the 17
Southwestern Virginia Training Center opened May 3rd, 1976, when 100 residents transferred from Central Virginia Training Center.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
For you all to adopt a resolution just to support us in our endeavor to try to keep it open, since Montgomery County is supported, and there are residents from here that do live there, many members of our parent group that are in Montgomery County or from Montgomery County.
Well, start off with Daryl. Is there any questions that you would like to ask?
No, I don't think I have any.
April?
Is that video a DVD, or is it available on YouTube, or?
It's available on YouTube. It's also a DVD, and I have an extra copy with me.
Okay.
Craig, would we be able to put a link?
Sure. I was going to say,
on our-
if you'll leave the extra that you have with our clerk, we'll make sure that the link and everything is emailed out to the board as well, so we'll have that for them.
Thank you.
Mary?
Okay, remind me again, like, when would the schedule shutdown occur?
It's scheduled right now to be closed in June of 2017.
2017, okay, and...
We're working right now with the General Assembly. There's two bills up right now for the new session that will begin in a week or so. One is asking that Southwest Virginia Training Center, along with Southeastern Virginia Training Center, remain open, and that's being presented by Delegate Israel Quinn. The second one is from a senator out of the around Fairfax, which Northern Virginia Training Center is located in Fairfax, Virginia, and they're working to close it now. Its scheduled closure date is March of 2016. I was up there in August, and at that time they had 54 individuals that were not placed yet. In a city as big as Fairfax, they were having many problems about individual group homes, private coming in. It was hard for them to find affordable housing in that area, and also hard for them to maintain employees. And he has a bill up asking that any sale of any land and buildings be put into a trust fund for these individuals.
Okay, so now, do you know how many localities this particular place takes in? 17 counties.
4 cities.
Okay, do you have like a model resolution that you've
Yes,
given and that we could get a copy of?
Yes.
Okay, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Creed?
No, I'm good.
Ms. Perkins?
I just say thank you. very much for making us aware of all of this.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be here.
Mr. King?
I just want to elaborate on what she said. I appreciate you standing up for these people. I really do.
Well, thank you very much. And my brother was Kevin that was on the video. And he has been helped miraculously since he's been at the training center.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you for
Barron.
being here tonight. Be safe going home.
Looking to the board members, is there a general consensus to at least put this on the agenda in one of the upcoming meetings to look at the resolution?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll try to get that scheduled as soon as we can.
All right. The next is a public hearing in regards to the New River Valley, or that was advertised in the New River Valley section of the Roanoke Times on January 1st and January 4th in regards to the fiscal year 2016-2017 county budget. The purpose of this public hearing is to gather citizens' comments excuse me, on the upcoming 2016-2017 fiscal year budget.
Mr. Chair, as we do annually, this is a opportunity for any citizen that wants to speak regarding any concerns or questions with the upcoming fiscal year budget that will be proposed to the board in a couple of weeks. The staff is in the process of developing the budget right now with input from the various departments and offices of the county. Once the budget is presented, there will be additional opportunities for the public to come forward and speak regarding the items that are in the budget. Tonight is just a general opportunity to speak to the budget in general and any specific concerns that folks may have.
Now, I know that there's a lot of folks who have signed up for public address, but this is in regards just the issues involving the fiscal county budget. I know that there was a group with NRV CAC, and they have signed up. I know that in regards to that, and I would recognize Lieutenant Bonds, if you would like to come forward.
I don't know if we can write NRV.
Good evening, board. We're back. We came last August to talk to you guys, and we want to come back and reintroduce ourselves to the new members and congratulate everybody. And just kind of touch base with you real quick again. I know we don't have a lot of time, but if it's all right, if Melissa Allman can bring up a real quick PowerPoint up front.
Absolutely. I know that this is normally we have a PowerPoint presentation be presided. Is there a consensus?
It's just, I don't have the PowerPoint itself.
Oh, okay. It's printed out. Okay, sure. Absolutely. Yes. Please feel free to pass that around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, my name is Randy Bonds. I'm the Lieutenant of Investigations with the Christiansburg Police Department, and this is Melissa Allman. She's a supervisor for Child Protective Services through Radford City. We are board members, or board director members for Children's Trust, and specifically what we're here tonight to talk about is the New River Valley Child Advocacy Center, or the CAC. And because we did this presentation last August, I just wanted to touch base with the new members just to kind of acquaint ourselves with you all and let you know what we did and kind of give you an update of where we were last year in August and where we ended up with in December. So just to make it really quick and simple, myself as law enforcement or Melissa as social services, when we get child abuse reports, sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional neglect, we can take the children to a place called the Child Advocacy Center and have them interviewed by a forensic examiner who's trained specifically to do that. It's a lot more child-friendly than coming to a police department and talking to me. A whole lot more friendly. I've never heard a police department described as friendly to go to. So with that said, they're able to go to someone who's interviewed thousands of children versus what I'll give you some stats here in just a minute. Christiansburg Police Department last year actually did 15 of those interviews, so if you take somebody who's interviewed 1,000 children versus 15 children, they're going to be a lot more proficient at it, certainly. And the goal behind the Child Advocacy Center is to stop having kids tell the story that's happened to them between 8 and 15 times. It's kind of what the average used to be, to now we're down to about 5 to 7 times. And so the least amount of times we can get this child in to be heard is the best. And when we schedule these CAC interviews, we can bring in forensic nurses to hear the story. We can bring in our Commonwealth attorney. We can bring in mental health professionals. So there's family advocates there. So everybody's listening to the kid tell her story, maybe for the second or third time, and then that's probably going to be it until court. And that's our goal behind this for prosecution. And if prosecution is not available to us for whatever reason, then the family services will continue for up to a year and a half afterwards. So that's our goal. Instead of the old model used to be when Melissa and I were done with a case, the CPS workers may follow up on it for 45 to 90 days, and then it was kind of on its own. And so now we have an advocate following up for up to a year and a half, which has really increased our productivity there. So that's kind of the CAC in a basic nutshell. What I wanted to touch base with you all on, last year when we came here in August, I think it was August the 11th we were here, as Montgomery County stood, we were at 30 interviews up to August the 11th, okay? With that being said, we closed out the year, unfortunately, at 61 total interviews. So we had 31 more interviews come in between August 11th and December the 31st. We kind of expect that kind of rise because school starts in August, and you have a lot more counselors and teachers and eyes on these kids. So you expect an increase, but this was a pretty drastic increase. So just to give you some input on that, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office ended up last year interviewing 41 children at the Child Advocacy Center. Christiansburg Police Department interviewed 15 children at the Child Advocacy Center, and Blacksburg PD interviewed 5 children at the Child Advocacy Center. That was a total increase for Blacksburg from when I spoke to you last of 2. Christiansburg was a total increase of 7, and Montgomery County Sheriff's Office interviewed 22 more children in that time frame. We originally wanted to come and talk to you all and just kind of introduce ourselves again and not speak about money, because I didn't want every time you see me for me to be talking about money. But unfortunately, we are a nonprofit organization. You know, I'm a lieutenant of Christiansburg PD. However, I'm here tonight representing the Board of Directors and Children's Trust. And even though they are located in Roanoke and they have programs in Roanoke like a CAC, all the money that is donated or generated in the New River Valley stays in the New River Valley. And that's important for me to tell you all, because that's one of the questions I get asked quite often and frequently. Just to kind of give you a total, each child that we interview, from the time we interview them for their services all the way through their counseling and things that we give them, is approximately $1,038 per child. We also obviously have to pay rent and things here in Christiansburg. The CAC is located on Hickok Street here in town of Christiansburg, so it's centrally located here in Montgomery County, which is kind of helpful for us. And so with that being said, we are always looking for money, and I know it's budget season, so if you can just please keep us in your minds and hearts as you go forward with the budget season, we would greatly appreciate it. I'll be glad to answer any questions or come back at any time that you'd like to hear from us, but that's just a real quick thing, because I know there's a lot of people here, and I don't think they're here to see me speak. If you have any questions. And I do apologize, on page number 4, the totals at the very bottom, Montgomery County, when I totaled those, I did not correct that. This is from the last time I was here. So it should be 2015. If you go down, it still says 30. It should say 61, and I apologize for that.
Thank you very much. I know there's 2 of you, and we get allotted 5 minutes, but is there anything that you wanted to add, Melissa?
No, I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that you are welcome to contact either of us with any questions. We'd be glad to give you all a tour of the Child Advocacy Center, especially since it's just up the street. I think you all would be impressed of the center. And also, I just want to add that I agree that I do think that this is a very important program, and it's important for us to keep this as a program that we can utilize in the New River Valley. Yes, I'm with the city of Bradford, and my agency also uses it. I'm also a resident of Christiansburg. My children are being raised in Montgomery County and Christiansburg, and it's important to me and their friends and things like that to make sure that this program stays available. And it touches, even though it was just 61 children, I think you said, from Montgomery County, that does not include the siblings that are involved with these children and families, as well as their parents, as well as the grandparents who may be watching the kids, as well as the friends or other children that may be involved with an alleged abuser or perpetrator that isn't captured in this number. So that number of the lives that are touched by the Child Advocacy Center is actually a lot greater. So.
Thank you both. Thank you. Is there any other members of the public who would like to discuss or have issues they'd like to bring up regarding the 2016-2017 fiscal year budget? Hearing none. The next matter on the agenda is public address. This is our opportunity to listen to you. During this period of time, we've got some folks who are signed up, but that is just a list. After we go through the list, if there is other individuals who want to address the board, they will be given 5 minutes as well. And I repeat this is our chance to listen to you. Many times in this world, you guys have to listen to what we have to say. But it is not our time. We don't respond to you necessarily. We will ask you to address the board with your name and address and contact information if you would like to be contacted by email. If you have some questions, we will try to address them and have the county staff try to address them. All right? With that, I would start off with Clarence A. Worrell. Mr. Worrell, would you please come forward and state your full name and address?
Clarence Allen Worrell, 680 Lewis Street, Christiansburg, Virginia. Chairman Tuck, board members, fellow concerned citizens, taxpayers, and many dear friends. For 15 years, I was deputy clerk, Montgomery County Circuit Court, and we've heard that service mattered, that public service mattered, and I was honored to serve the citizens of Montgomery County for that time. I just brought a few things here to share with the board tonight. This is a handwritten note. Alan, thank you so much for helping us with our marriage license and then paying for it on top of that. It was completely unexpected and was extraordinarily kind. It made our special day that much more perfect. We hope you like the handmade Hokie ornament. Go Hokies. Peace and blessings. Don't even know these folks. Matt and Candace Weiser. Then I got the honor to help a couple from Tech, a couple of graduate students. Lauren Cashman writes, I hope I can make people feel as happy and engaged as you do. So much patience it didn't even laugh at David's passport picture, which was ridiculous. I'm so glad you shared bits of your life with us. And then David writes, I'm writing to thank you for being super nice, super awesome at your job. You made getting my passport an easy, very easy, and stress-free, and you were so nice. My talk with you that day made my whole day. It is rare to meet people, rare to meet someone who is as nice and caring as you are. And I just want to say that in Proverbs 29:2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And I'm in mourning for myself and for 4 other folks that serve our county. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. James Willis.
Chairman Tuck, members of the board, my name is James Willis. I live at 4220 Price's Fork Road in Blacksburg. I'm here tonight to speak about the events that took place in the clerk's office recently. Just a few months ago, Erica Williams sat in this room and talked about her dedicated staff. And she also said that the high turnover rate was because she couldn't afford to pay them what they were worth. On December the 30th, the voters of Montgomery County found out just how much she thinks they're worth. She dismissed over 50% of her staff for what was apparently purely political reasons. In doing so, she acted in complete disregard to the well-being of her entire staff, not just those who were let go, but those who were left to deal with the mess that was left behind. And at the same time, she did real harm to the operational ability of the office and to the integrity of the office. According to the law, constitutional officers are given broad powers in hiring and firing. And I have no doubt that Erica Williams
is under the impression that she is free to hire and fire for any reason she wants, and that she cannot be held accountable for these decisions. The Board of Supervisors does have means of holding her accountable for these decisions, and I would encourage you to explore those and do what you can. The voters also have a course of redress. And as one high school student said today, if the voters can remove the President of the United States from office, then surely the voters can remove a clerk of court from office. The powers are granted to constitutional officers to be used for certain purposes. When those powers are used for any other purpose than that which they were granted, it constitutes an abuse of their office. When the abuse of that office causes harm to the office, Virginia law provides the voters a remedy. Virginia law states upon petition, the circuit court may remove from office any elected officer or officer who has been appointed to fill an elected office residing within the jurisdiction of the court for neglect of duty, misuse of office, or incompetence in the performance of duties when that neglect of duty, misuse of office, or incompetence in the performance of duties has a material adverse effect on the conduct of the office. The petition must be signed by a number of registered voters who reside within the jurisdiction of the officer equal to 10% of the total number of votes cast at the last election for the office that the officer holds. It is my belief that Erica Williams did act in a way that constituted not only an abuse of her office, it also demonstrated incompetence in the performance of her duties, and in doing so has had and continues to have a material adverse effect upon the conduct of the office. For this reason, I have drawn up a petition to allow the registered voters in Montgomery County to express their belief of the same and to have Erica Williams removed from the office of clerk of court. I will have those petitions available following this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know that there's a lot of emotions, but this is a public forum. And so one of the things is we would ask from both sides to try to, and if there may be advocates for the other positions that are different issues. And so we tried, and this is my first night as chair, but we try to keep clapping down to a minimum and comments while speakers are speaking and not to interrupt them. And I know that there was some amens out there, and I don't believe those were intended to interrupt folks. But if we could keep the comments and the clapping down a little bit during the course of the public address, I really do appreciate it. The next speaker is Vicki Joe, is it Nat Duncan?
Hey, Craig, somebody have a pen?
Gary's got it.
You use mine for a while. I'm not using it.
Okay, thank you.
Would you please state your name and address?
Yes, I will. My name is Vicki Joe Duncan. I live at 517 Waits Lane in Christiansburg. There will not be any clapping for me because I am a horrible speaker. But I'm coming here out of a heartfelt need to be here, a sincere one. I do want to say that I know Al Worrell personally because I go to church with him, and at church we call him Big Al. He really is so admired by so many people and has been absolutely a tremendous asset to the church as well as I know to the county. He's an humble man, would not want me to praise him, but I do want to do that. I would start by saying also that the 5 people that were fired for 8 years, or the number of years that they worked there, they made Erica look good, and that's proven by their evaluations. Crystal Kessling's last evaluation was 4.79 out of a possible 5. That was her last evaluation. On election day, Ms. Williams told 5 employees that they were not to be off that day. They had to work in the office because they apparently were very competent employees that she could truly trust to run that office. Those 5 employees were the ones that she fired. There were 3 other employees that she told could be off that day. Those employees worked the polls for her that day. They were not fired. One employee, a young lady who is now employed there, I won't mention her name. I can if you'd like me to, but just the point will suffice, I imagine. She was hired about a month ago, just before the firings happened. She campaigned for Ms. Williams. She is still employed there, although under 1 month or about a month's time, she's had no ability to prove her work record, give any proof of that, yet she was kept as an employee. In the Roanoke Times photo, I think that everyone has seen where Erica was celebrating her win, Ms. Williams. One of her employees who was also celebrating in that picture was Bridget Adams, who was promoted. And Bridget Adams was seen in other photos with the campaign t-shirts. She actively campaigned for her. Another employee, Ashley Smith, who campaigned for her. There are pictures of her all through Facebook with, supporting her, saying that she supported her. She's still there. Ashley Smith's husband, and I say this with, no malice whatsoever, but her husband also campaigned for Ms. Williams, and he is an employee of the county. Ashley Smith, of course, I think I said she posted support on her Facebook page. Another man who was kept and promoted, Mr. Biederman, I believe is his name, he has worked in her office for under 1 year. And under 1 year does not give you enough time to be adequately evaluated, in my estimation. But yet he was promoted with a very sizable promotion money-wise. And the last thing I would say is that just through the Roanoke Times, I learned that Ms. Williams was requested to turn over her hours of work and the times that she was out. All I can say, I would like to just see her still held accountable for the times that she was out of the office that she refused. And it seems like she was given a pass for that.
And I appreciate your comments, but your time is up. Thank you very much. Next on the list is Parker Walters.
My name is Parker Walters, and I live on 1373 Janelle Road. And I just want to say that I go to church with Mr. Worrell, and I've never heard one person say anything bad about him. And I'm going to New Zealand in March, and I need my passport, and that was a breeze for me because he helped me out just like that. And I don't know anybody that works there now, but if I went there now, I'm sure they wouldn't walk me through step by step. But he's helped me, and I'm just very disappointed in the clerk of court right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Barbara Middleton.
name is Barbara Middleton. I live at 1535 Diana Drive in Christiansburg. And I can say that I've been enlightened some tonight with this gentleman's remarks that he made. I wasn't aware that there's a possibility of some things being done that these employees could be reinstated. But hopefully that could happen. If not, my question, I have a couple concerns after reading the Roanoke Times. One thing that really got to me is on behalf of Mrs. I think her name is Diana Vaught. She is near retirement. As a retired school teacher with 30 years experience, I had a nice celebration when I finished. And that is something that you really enjoy, having someone thank you for your work, your dedication. And it is evident if someone stayed in a position for 30 plus years that they were a good employee and a competent employee. So on behalf of Ms. Vaught, I would like to say that I think she is due her celebration, and I think your board should make sure that she gets this celebration in the Montgomery County area here, right, where all of her friends and colleagues and people can come and celebrate and thank her for her outstanding performance of 30 plus years. And I feel that this is the least that we can do to let her know that we do appreciate her wonderful work. The other employees, I know some of them. I have had the opportunity of them helping me in the office, and they have been outstanding employees, and as far as helping, with their service. And I feel if these employees, my question is, they're facing a lot of decisions here if they are not reinstated with their positions. One thing is your insurance. I know that as a retiree, as a senior, that you have to have insurance. And these people are going to have a very difficult time having their insurance and being able to find a suitable employment. So I think somewhere in the county, I don't know who could take this up, perhaps you all, the board, these people could have their insurance for a while until they find suitable employment if they're not reinstated. And I appreciate every one of them and all their service, their many years together. And I just wanted to state that fact. And I thank you all for considering this and taking into account these people that have given many, many years of service to Montgomery County. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Betty Green.
Congratulations, Chairman Tuck, and members of the board. I think a lot of these people have already said a lot of what I would say, so I won't go through all the specifics of all of that.
Ms. Green, could I get you to say your name and your address?
Sorry, yes. Betty Green, Greene, 2889 Roanoke Road, Christiansburg.
Thank you.
You're welcome. First of all, I want to say I don't know any of these people that were dismissed personally, and I don't know Ms. Williams. But let me get that out of the way to begin with. But as a tax-paying citizen, I am appalled at what has happened. And I do question Ms. Williams' judgment. And my perception is that by taking the action that she did, in the manner that she did it, it would cause one to question her judgment and consideration for the well-being of the office that she serves. I had wondered about the evaluations, and I know someone spoke about those, and I had wondered if there were evaluations performed on these people. And if there wasn't, I was going to say that there should have been. but by her remark a few months prior that they were dedicated staff, then I assumed that, there wasn't complaints. And I've heard several people say that they have really been well served by these people. I noticed in the paper that she put 4 things down that she was trying to, the people she was trying to fill the position with in her office. And she said that she wanted to fill it with people that shared her goals. Well, I guess I would question, what are her new goals that she didn't have in her prior term that she served? Were her goals that new, that she had to get rid of the people that was there, that were team players? Was there any evidence that they were not team players? Because from everything that I've heard from everyone, they were team players. Improve the efficiency. I don't see how you can hire new people, train them with a learning curve that they would have, and have a more efficient office. I can't understand that. And dedicated to providing the best possible service to clients. Well, from what we've heard and what we know, the office has well been provided. I mean, it was very efficient. Yes, I keep hearing that she can legally do this. We keep hearing that. But for the record, my question is, was it the right thing to do in the manner that she did it? And how can our citizens be served as efficiently without all the years of knowledge and expertise that these people have combined? How are we better served? Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Kenneth Hester.
My name is Kenneth George Hester. I live at 112 Alexa Lane, Christiansburg. Thank you for the opportunity to address this board. Like many here tonight, I am not here to question constitutional officers' authority to appoint or reappoint staff. However, like most here, I feel compelled to express my concern and extreme disappointment regarding the Montgomery County Clerk of the Circuit Court's actions that transpired on December 30th of 2015. As a voting resident of this county, I feel there is an implied trust between voters and elected officials. We expect them to represent our best interests. We expect them to conduct themselves in a manner that represents our county well and in a fair manner. We expect them to put politics and personalities aside after ballots have been tabulated and election parties are over. Events that occurred within the clerk of the circuit court's office on that Wednesday have led me and most in this room to question if that trust still exists. Others have spoken on a variety of topics. During my time, I want to focus on just a few. First, the clerk decided to not reappoint 56% of her staff in a single day. I assumed that the clerk had plans to operate that office with 4 people. With over 45 years of systems and software engineering experience, I am baffled on how an enterprise can effectively operate with a 56% staff reduction. It defies conventional resource planning, contingency planning, business continuity operation planning, and any risk mitigation strategy that I've ever known. Second, the timeline for these events caused me to wonder when the decision not to reappoint was actually made. Clerk staff were directed to write a document for the clerk that was announced on Friday, December the 18th at 4:30. The documents were to be returned by Wednesday, December 23rd at 9. That seemed like ample time, but there was a weekend between those dates, and the due date was just before the Christmas holiday started. Interviews were completed during the afternoon of Monday, December 28th, with decisions rendered on Wednesday, December 30th in the afternoon. So between Monday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon, the clerk reviewed the interview results, carefully considered her reappointment decisions, interfaced with human sources to make sure all procedural activities and matters were addressed, and rendered her decisions to the affected staff. That was truly a remarkable effort. With no disrespect to this board or to the County Human Resources Department, I have never experienced an effort that effective. It typically takes days or weeks to transact and communicate a decision this significant. That is unless the decision was made days or weeks earlier. Third, my understanding is that on December 30th, that a deputy clerk was contacted by an adjoining county Commonwealth attorney's office expressing concern that the individual was not part of what was happening in the clerk's office. That was interesting since none of the staff not reappointed were even aware that anything was happening that day. My question would be how and why an office from an adjoining county was even aware that this was happening. Who had shared this information and why? In closing, in my humble opinion, I feel that the clerk of the circuit court's judgment, leadership, and possible integrity have been compromised. As a Montgomery County resident and voter, I ask the Board of Supervisors to take whatever action they deem appropriate to restore our trust in that elected office. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next on the list is Anthony. Next on the list is Anthony Needham.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Needham. I live at 875 Depot Street here in Cambridge. I've heard the comments made by the people that have come before me, and I've come to you and want to present you with two different sort of facts to focus on. I'm a Democrat. I used to be the district chair for District B with Montgomery County Democratic Party. I worked through multiple elections. I am also a local attorney. Therefore, with being a local attorney, I have intimate knowledge of the workings of the clerk's office and the effect that Ms. Williams' most recent decision has had. So at first, I'd like to address you with regard to my role as an attorney, and finally, quite frankly, my role as a Democrat and my view on the situation. I think a lot of the times the public misses how important the clerk's office is. When you get married, when you buy a home, when your grandfather dies and you need to put that will through probate, when your sister's second cousin's boyfriend's niece goes to prison, all right? All of those important life matters go through the Montgomery County Clerk's office. They handle all those documents. I know the clerk's office and I know those employees. Some of them I know personally. Some of them I don't know personally. Some of them I agree with some of their political views as I've come to know them. To be honest, some of them I vehemently disagree with. But what I have seen has been consummate professionals handling their job and making sure that politics does not interfere with the citizens of Montgomery County. You know, in the earlier presentation, I heard the term several times with the stroke of their pen. By the stroke of Ms. Williams' pen, she has crippled the clerk's office. Make no doubt about that. She has become herself an impediment to the administration of justice for Montgomery County. She has become a burden to surrounding clerks' offices as they have to shuffle their own employees to handle the demand that Montgomery County citizens need. Finally, she has ushered in an era where the political process is thrust upon simple public servants that want really nothing more than to be left alone and serve the citizens of Montgomery County. So I can tell you as an attorney, the citizens of Montgomery County are going to feel, and are feeling at this point, the effects of Ms. Williams' actions. Now let me get to the fact about being a Democrat. I'm a Democrat and I'm proud of it. I work election polls, I've gotten voters there, I've got out people to vote, I work long hours, I've worked until there's blisters on my feet. And I don't know if the chairman wants to instruct them not to boo at me. I also work and a fundraiser for Erica Williams. I worked that fundraiser for her. But what I have found, and why I'm so proud to be a Democrat, is because of the ideals of the Democratic Party as I've come to find them. We value different beliefs and ideals. We believe in fairness. We certainly don't believe in forcing those over which we have power to promote our political beliefs. Finally, it made me pose the question to myself, when did we become the party that took up for the big guy that took advantage of the little man? And the simple fact of the matter is we didn't. Over the past couple weeks, I have found myself having to defend the fact that I'm a Democrat. I won't do that. Because simply put, Ms. Williams did not act in a way that the Democratic Party should act. She did not hold herself up to the ideals to which Democrats hold themselves. You've heard a lot about people not disputing that she could do what she has said. We're not here today because of what she did. We're here today about what you can do. Therefore, what I would ask is that any funding, any resources that this county gives her be terminated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is all of the folks who are signed up. As I mentioned earlier, that does not mean that you are not allowed to speak. And so I'm just going to ask folks to raise their hands. I'm going to do my best to recognize you as we go through it. Is there anyone else here who would like to address not just any issue that happens to be before the board? Yes, ma'am. Please come forward and state your name and address.
My name is Laura Helms, and I live on 2710 Yellow Sulphur Road, Christiansburg. I would like to congratulate you, Mr. Tuck, for being chair. This is the best board we've had for a long time, so I'm very pleased about that. One of the things that I just wanted to bring to your attention is Yellow Sulphur Road is a mess. It needs to be more work done on it, and there's a pothole as big as this platform down there, and they just put a little dirt over it, and in 2 or 3 days it's back to the way it is. So I hope that you can fix that. And the other thing that I would like to say is I worked for a constitutional officer who did not come into work for a whole year. Not a whole year, and our taxpayer dollars paid her salary. And that to me is just stealing from the taxpayers. And I just think that we should do away with constitutional officers. I don't know how you can go about doing that, but I think they should be done away with, who should have that much power over their employees. And since this is clearly political base, I think that the county, since these employees have worked so long and have dedicated their lives, they should at least have their benefit package for a couple of months, at least until they can find employment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any others that would like the public address? Please come forward. If you would, please state your name and address.
I will. My name is Kimberly Woolwine McKittrick. My address is 420 Mulberry Drive in Christiansburg. Congratulations, Chris, on your appointment.
Okay.
I just first want to say that I was not prepared tonight to come to speak to anyone. I came because I had a love for my job. I have a love for these people that have been dismissed from their positions. I've worked in the Montgomery County Courthouse for almost 30 years. For some of you that may not know, there are 3 clerks in the Montgomery County Courthouse, and I am the General District Court Clerk. We handle a variety of things. I have a full staff, actually a staff greater than that of the circuit court. I'm very proud of my position. I have been barred really from being able to speak freely here tonight. I'm under some codes of conduct that prevent me from saying some things, and I didn't come here to really bash anyone. I just want to say that these people did an outstanding job. I've known them all, some longer than others, but I've worked very closely with them, and I want to give a voice to the people in the courthouse that work with these ladies and gentlemen. They're outstanding. It hurts many of us to see that this has been done. I understand politics. I'm in the middle of it every day, but I just wanted to give a voice to that. I want to say in my office, I'm not speaking as to Ms. Williams, but it's frustrated me in that people aren't accountable for their hours. It frustrated me when that came out in the paper that couldn't be revealed to the citizens of Montgomery County, because I put in my hours. I welcome all of you. Please look at my clicker every day, what time I go in, what time I leave. That's what a true leader does. You're there with your people. When there's an ugly person at the counter, you come out of your office. You come out there and you address that person. You take up for your staff. I want to say that when that courthouse was built, they had me in a corner. I was way back in the corner of the building. I looked at the plans and said, why? I want to be out there with my staff. I want to support them in any way I can. That's what leadership is. That's what this county deserves. I can tell you that my great-great-grandfather was a clerk of the circuit court many, many years ago. He walked from Pilot Mountain to come to work every day. He was expected to work. He was expected to put his hours in. That's what leadership is. That's why I have the majority of my office here with me tonight. They are here because I don't want to brag about myself, but good leadership, that's what happens. You don't have to ask for people's support. They just naturally follow you if you're the leader you need to be. And I appreciate I'm sorry for being so emotional. It's a very difficult time for those of us that work in the courthouse. Thank you.
Thank you. I see another hand. Sir, if you would come forward.
Good evening, Board. My name is Jeremy Caltis. I live at 3099 Meadow Creek Road, Christiansburg, Virginia. First off, let me say that the people in the circuit court's office that were let go have been a tremendous help for me. I work local for Thompson Tire. I work in the corporate headquarters. We're an ESOP company, so if you're not familiar with that, every employee owns a portion of the company. We're 100% ESOP. We had some issues come up with our plot beside us. I contacted the clerk's office, asked them for assistance. Could you please help me, find the plat of land that goes, because it was just a property line issue. We had to have it resurveyed. No plat existed, but they said, here's what we've got. They sent it right over, no problem. So if I had that issue today, who am I going to call that has the expertise? Because I can tell you, when I called over there, Alan was helpful, Amanda's been helpful, Crystal Kessler, they've all been great. And I think that Erica Williams needs to be held accountable for doing this to these people. They've lost benefits, pay, small children involved, health issues come up. What are they facing going ahead? And then, Diana being so close to retirement. Something should be done.
not only for her celebration, but to take care of those people that have dedicated so much time to this county. I worry about, my tax dollars not only as an individual, but, my company's tax dollars. I'm getting ready because I'm over our finance for the company. And looking at that, it kind of sickens me a little bit to know that a portion of my tax dollars go toward Eric. It's upsetting. That's all I have to say. I just want to say my piece, and thank you very much.
Is there any other individuals? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Fran Eccles, and I'll surprise everyone here tonight. I'm not from Montgomery County anymore. I now reside in Pulaski County. But I'm president of Thompson Tire, and I oversee our company. But I can tell you as president and CEO, what I don't do is manage my company as if I'm in charge and I'm the only voice that counts. What I have witnessed in Montgomery County since November 3rd, and even prior to, has been atrocious. What has happened there, the only thing that I'll ask of all of you, the 5 individuals that lost their livelihood, that lost their jobs, Miss Williams is said to have looked at them as she walked each one out the door and deemed herself untouchable. You can't do anything about me. I'm too powerful. You tell me who that walks this earth is so powerful in any position that they cannot be removed from their position. That is all I ask everyone in front of me to look at. Is any of you so powerful in your daily lives and in your activities that you cannot be removed or relieved of your responsibilities? Thank you.
Ma'am, would you provide I know you said you were from Pulaski County. Would you provide your address, please?
Lake Cliff Drive, Dublin, Virginia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Dan Brand. I live at 790 Cambria Street, Christiansburg. Mr. Chairman and Board, I think you've heard a lot this evening about the problem we have. I don't know all the solutions, but I will ask this question. The people of this county need what the clerk's office is giving. Which is more valuable, the employees that were fired or the elected official? Can the employees be rehired and has Curtis on? That's my question. If they could do that, at least the county would be served. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Zachary Delaney. I live at 111 Longview Drive. I go to Auburn High School. I actually have a little bit of a different view. I am on this issue. I've been taught in all my government classes, it just seems the government is so cold and impersonal. It's just what it seems like the whole time. And I go to church with Mr. Alan Roy. And I met him, and I realized I've never seen anybody who's so just wants to do stuff for the people. He's so committed to that. I mean, he will serve anybody. He'll give you the shirt off his back. And all of a sudden, I kind of changed my mind. I was like, well, if government employs somebody like that, well, then they must be kind of good people. They really do want to help us. So you can kind of imagine what went through my head when I realized that our government doesn't want somebody like that in office. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. That changed my opinion about Montgomery County and where I live. Yeah. And that just really kind of offends me that the clerk of court of my county can do something like that and not answer for it. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Are there other speakers who would like to address the board? Yes, ma'am.
And I live at 139 Fisher Street. I have a little demographic difference than most of the people that have spoke today.
What, Fisher Street in Christiansburg? Okay.
I'm 25. My husband and I just got married. We're looking for a place to have our family, to stay. Originally from Pulaski. They have come up in their ways. They have expanded to accompany people of my age. I come to Montgomery County because it has more of what my husband and I are looking for. Why would I want to stay if this is what the county is coming to? If it happens in one office, what's going to stop it from happening somewhere else? What's going to stop someone else from feeling that they can make their decision however they want without any recourse, without anyone else having to come behind them? That's what our government is based on. That's what our founding fathers felt that was necessary. No one person has power. No one person has all the power. But as these students who are coming up here, county leaders want them to stay, don't want them to leave. What makes us, as a younger demographic with no children, no schools to have to deal with, we can up and leave at any time. What makes us want to stay here? If when I go for my marriage license, I had extreme help. It was fantastic. When I went for my concealed carry permit, the same thing, no judgment from anyone there, regardless of if they felt that was unnecessary. But what would make any of us younger demographics want to stay here and know that there's a chance you're going to go somewhere and you're going to get an attitude? Because what stops the workers of these people from retaining that attitude as well? And not giving customer service, not having the experience. I don't know everything. I don't know if I buy a house what I'm going to have to do. I expect there to be someone in there that can tell me what I need to do and that has the experience, personal and professional as well. So as a younger person, unlike these people who have families already established here, why would that make me want to stay here knowing that this is the effect that is happening in one area that can also happen in other areas? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? And if there's some other speakers and folks who would like to speak, perhaps start coming forward, and you can just sit up on the front row and then I can start calling on you one at a time. Sir, if you would come on forward.
Thank y'all. My name is Bruce Altus. I live at 1148 Mount Pleasant Road. I am a family member of Tammy that was one of them that lost her job there. I will tell you, there's not a more dedicated person than Tammy. I've dealt with all five of them in one sense or another. Gun permit, different things that we've done, taxes, whatever. Me and my wife dealt with there. We've got a business in Montgomery County. I do think it's a shame that we allow an elected official to do this to these people because they have dedicated their lives. 22 years service, I know, 29 years and 8 months. Others has got other years now, but right at the end, what they've dedicated to Montgomery County is their life and do what everybody's asked for them to do above and beyond. You've heard the people here say above and beyond. And, and we thank them for that by dismissing them 4 months before they retire. It's a slap in the face. I worked for VDOT. I worked for VDOT years before me and my wife started. You know, I choose to leave at 21 years service, and that was a decision of mine. When I went with them, I looked at 30 years service. I looked for that day to retire and have that dinner and tell everybody I worked with for 30 years, goodbye, thank you for all the assistance and everything. They deserve that because all 5 of them people I know, and they took and give Montgomery County 100%. 100% they give them. And you're going to turn around and dismiss them the way they was dismissed. None of us want to be done that way, and we shouldn't be done that way if we serve our community. And it's just not right. And if we allow it to happen, it makes us just like what's going on with the United States election now. People's not believing in the government anymore. You know why? Because we're operating that way. So we don't need to operate that way. We need to respect these people that's from this community and give 100%. And they have given 100%. I know them. A lot of y'all know them. These people behind me know them. But all I can say, and I'm gonna hush, but all I can say is that if impeachment is what needs to happen, then I'm gonna be the first one to sign the paper. So, I heard if y'all can't help these 5 people in this community, then I want to sign that paper because I'm a business owner in this town, and I live in this town. I was raised here. I was born here, and I don't think this is the way our Montgomery County ought to run. And I don't think anybody should have that kind of power. And if it is, then I've got to drop my head when I go through Montgomery County. Because this is not the way we ought to operate. We ought to be what they're saying. Come in, people have something to do, we want to help them. That's what they're getting paid for. They're getting paid. They enjoy their job, they enjoy the people they work with, but they're getting paid to help people. And then you slap them in the face like this when they're 4 months from retirement. It just don't make sense to me. And if we allow it, we're doing wrong. And so I just ask you to look at it and try to help these people. And however, but it's not right what we're doing to them. And that's all I got to say. Thank y'all for your time.
I would ask the audience members not to shout out, and there may be even words of encouragement, but if you're standing up and for the first time and trying to speak in front of 150 people and somebody's shouting behind you, you might not appreciate it as much. So is there anyone else who would like to speak? Going once? What? There's another hand, okay.
My name is Teresa Pettis. I live at 1405 Westview Drive, Christiansburg. My question is, I know you all can't respond to our responses, this being a public hearing. Is there a form that needs to be, or something where you all can answer our questions that we have as to what your ability is to answer any of these questions, or we just have to sit and wait?
I'm going to look to my fellow board members. I know we typically don't respond, but one of the things is why we're asking for your address and the like is to be able to respond. So if you have some questions, I know that many of the board members, we've got a lot of emails that have come in, and that we are trying to address many of those emails, but we're individual board members. A lot of us work during the day, and so that means we're trying to email at night and try to respond to as many folks as we possibly can. And then Vicki with the county, she'll get your information and try to answer that. Okay?
Okay. So there's not anything that needs to be like advertised as a public hearing on this specific situation, or?
And again, and this is that it's our turn to listen to you, okay? And we'll do our best. And if you want to send us some emails and things, I think individually we can respond along the line, okay?
And I would like to add also where people have requested that maybe if nothing else be done for these people, that their insurance benefits be reinstated for a certain amount of time. I know when I worked for the commissioner's office, I basically had the same kind of treatment But at that time, when I was laid off, I was able to maintain my benefits and insurance for 3 months. It is very devastating personally, and these people deserve much better treatment than what they've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Chair, just one thing. I think what she was referring to is something like the community meeting that we usually have,
And
so we can respond back and forwards.
in the previous year, we had community meetings, several of them throughout the county. And that's where the board members actually came out to different localities and went ahead and tried to address some of your concerns and interact with you. But for the public address, it really is our time to listen to you. And we will try to respond to our emails, and we will respond through Vicki to some of your questions and try to address many of those things. And we'll discuss some of the things after we've listened to you, okay? But that we will be talking about in the next few months about some of the public forums that we may be having throughout the county. Is there anyone else? I saw one more hand. I can see two hands. So, sir, you were, okay.
I'm driven to do this. My name is Dee Costello. I live in Pilot, Virginia, at 1356 Lycan Lane. I'm a foreigner from North Dakota. I've lived in this community since 1980. I have been at the courthouse requiring help many, many times. I don't know any of these people that have lost their positions, but I do know it was the wrong thing to do to the wrong people. They were doing their jobs. I haven't heard or seen on paper any other qualification, but they were the best. I don't want their insurance and benefits back. I want this board to do whatever it can do to get their jobs back where they belong in this courthouse. I don't know any of them personally, but I know I have asked for their help in each division many times over. And I ask you to use the powers of this board to do whatever you can to rectify a very, very bad situation. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Turner. I live at 1690 Ellen Road, Christiansburg. I have 2 reasons to speak. One is I would like to personally thank Mr. Tuck and also Dave Clark of VDOT for the work and the good things that have been done to get our road back to the shape that it needed to be in. It was in very pitiful shape, and it is now a nice, smoother ride than it used to be. But so I do thank y'all personally for the endeavor that y'all helped out on. The other one is there seems to be a lot of vindictiveness tonight, and I don't think it's vindictiveness that we need. I think primarily this situation that is taking place in the clerk of court's office, is this what Montgomery County really wants to have the newspaper writing about these people that have been over here filming tonight? Is that the reputation that we want this county to be known by? Or do we want to be better? And the only way to make it better is to make a change. These people deserve their jobs back. I know only one individual out of that office, and I don't know him because of that office. I know him because of church, and that's Mr. Alan Boyle. He is a wonderful man, and he, as well as the 4 others, did not deserve this. And I think it's going to be a very regrettable decision that was made on her part. But I would like to see anything and everything that you possibly can do in any shape, form, or fashion to take place to help these people in their situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other speakers? Going more? I see that hand.
Better get it down.
My name is Rob Caston, 4325 Dry Valley Road.
I've got a business that I run in the county. I have several employees that work for me. I hire and I fire. I fire people that don't do their jobs. To fire that person by the state, I have to have a lot of documentation. And, you know, you got to verbally talk to them, you got to write them up, you write them up again, then you let them loose. And then they'll call the state, and I've got to provide all that documentation. These people did their job, they did a good job, and they were escorted out. I hear the word constitutional elected official. It ain't right. You know, if somebody's not doing their job, we're going to fire them. Let's don't let people that do their job, do a great job, get walked out like that. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there other speakers? Going once. Going twice. All right, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, wait.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Wayne Worrell. I'm a little bit biased. Alan Worrell is my brother. I can tell you from knowing him for 59 years that he's always been real considerate to my parents, myself, everyone I've known him to come into contact with. I have no question of his character. I only have a question of his ex-boss's character. And I urge everyone to sign a petition. Thank you.
Sir, if you would give your address.
680 Lewis Street, Wayne Worrell, Christiansburg, Virginia.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, let's try this again. All right, is there anyone else that would like to speak? I'm going to go once, going twice. We're going to close public address, and at this point in time, I think we're going to take about a 10-minute recess for everybody to take a little break. And then we'll get back started again in 10 minutes. Sure, break.
This new chair, he just calls.
Took a coffee break.
All right, is there an addendum for this evening?
No, sir, we have no addendum this evening.
Bill Brown never did that. He just let me come in late, or he talked to me.
I'm sorry, Ms. Perkins. I was just trying to make sure you were part of the meeting. In regards to consent agenda, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Would Madam Clerk call the roll, please?
Ms. Perkins? Aye. Mr. Knox? Aye. Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs? Aye. Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
New business. The Second Amendment to the lease agreement of the free clinic of the New River Valley.
Marty, you want to take this one, or you?
Sure. I think we need a motion or not.
A motion.
Second.
If you look on tab G, what you had before you was a request by the Free Clinic at New River Valley for the board to consider approving a Second Amendment to its current lease agreement they have with that organization. What's brought this on is that the Free Clinic has recently been awarded a $1 million grant in federal funds, which requires no matching by us. And they're going to use that money to renovate the facility that we own, and they're also going to use that money to expand services at the premises. And with the lease amendment, what the request in the lease amendment is that they want to increase the term of lease 5 additional years, which would mean the lease would expire with no further additions in 2027 instead of 2022. And then the other provisions are basically provisions that the federal grant authority, which is the HRSA, which is the Health Resource and Service Administration, these are provisions they want in the lease. And what these provisions do is require the county to let them know if there's any terms of default on behalf of the New River Free Clinic. And so that they can then step in and try to remedy that default, or they also have authority to fix the default. They also have the authority to bring someone else into that building with our approval. And so the terms that are in there are, at least in my opinion, are not something that hurts our ability in the future to use that facility. And in fact, the $1 million being renovated is only going to help. I know they're going to redo the parking area, and then they're going to be doing some stuff in the building. Ms. Bronze, who runs the organization, is here if y'all have any questions specifically about the improvements that are going to be done. But this is a win-win, I think.
Is there any questions any board members have of Marty? Any questions anyone has in general?
Can we motion to approve?
I think we had a motion.
We have a motion and a second, so at this point in time, would Madam Clerk call a roll?
Ms. Biggs? Aye. Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Okay, now let me see if I can find us there. Next thing on there is the annual appointments for the boards and commissions for 2016.
And Mr. Chair, I do have, and I appreciate Supervisor King asking about this earlier today, and was going to email it out. There was a question that came up with regard to some of these groups. When do they meet? Because one of the things that would be very important for you to know if you're interested in serving is what is their general meeting times. So this has the meeting times that are generally associated with these groups. Now, that's not to say that it won't, some of it, I guess, could be subject to change, but this is the meeting schedule that we're aware of right now. So wanted to provide that to you as an additional piece of information. And also under tab H in your packet are the appointments for these positions for last year, if you want to refer back to that.
Do we just want to start at the beginning and start with AFD? I'm happy to continue on the advisory board. They did not meet, I don't believe, last year. So I'm happy to continue to serve on that board. And so I'm happy to do that. The next on the list is the Chamber of Commerce Liaison. That, as I understand, is typically chair and vice chair, and I'm willing to serve as that as well.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Does it have to be chair and vice chair?
I don't think it has to be.
I don't think so. I know for the past year, I believe that it was Chair Brown attended for the county. I believe John Bush, Councilmember Bush, attended for the town of Blacksburg. And
Yeah, he is their liaison.
Yeah, and I can't remember who was that. Right? Who was Chris? Mayor Barber.
Yeah.
Thanks, Avery. I should have looked up. Thank you.
I know when I was chair, before Mr. Politis, I served as the liaison to it. But it can be somebody else.
I'm open. If there's folks that...
Well, I don't want to do it. I was just wondering. I just wondered in case somebody else wanted to step up.
Well, is there someone... Is one of the things I want to do is there an interest? Does somebody want to serve? I'm happy to serve on it as chair. And it looks like we had 2 positions in the vice chair. I don't know if Gary, is that something you're interested in? Or folks, I'm all ears.
I backed up Bill and got to attend one of their meetings, and so if Mr. Creed didn't want to be the backup or whatever, I would be happy to be your backup.
Okay.
And help you, or if you want, because I know sometimes you might have conflicts with court and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So that would be, if you're happy to be the backup, it would be me and then Mary, and then we would next look at the county school liaison. Again, I'm willing and being flexible. I know that Bill was the last time, but I'm happy to. And I will say, it looks like that one meets on the 4th Thursday. It is very, very difficult when a judge tells me I have to be in a court. I have to be there. And so if there was a board member who was willing to serve, I would greatly appreciate it in regards to school liaisons. I don't know if
I wouldn't mind doing that.
anybody else interested?
I could, if you want me to, both Bill and I went to both of those.
Okay, and so if you wanted to be
Backup. Or go
for
or
Annette?
whatever, yeah.
The EDA, Annette, you served on there previously. I don't know what your thoughts are, or some of the other folks' thoughts in regards to the EDA.
The Economic Development
Alliance. Different from the Economic Development Commission.
Right. The Alliance, I think, is usually the county administrator as one person. Is that correct, Craig? And then I was...
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry, I was looking at the other one too.
I was your alternate, I think, and Brian also serves on that, and I know that I did go to the meetings because many times Craig, I think, was tied up.
Yes, ma'am, and I'll tell you that it has been me and Ms. Perkins, but that also meets the same time as the Water Authority Board meets, which created a challenge for me.
Right.
Is there someone who is free on the second Thursdays, third Wednesdays at 4 o'clock that would be interested in? I know you've got your bus route, so that messes you up right in the middle of the day.
It's usually over in
interesting.
Fairlawn.
Yeah, it's in Fairlawn, and it's an interesting approach because there are so many people who are part of that group, but certainly not a lot of people are there every time that it meets, obviously, and it's mostly business, community, community and government officials that go to this particular committee.
Craig, you said you have a conflict with that with the Water Authority? Okay.
Yeah, the Water Authority.
This is something that interests me quite a bit. Unfortunately, I would have a hard time committing to every single meeting just because it would mean closing my office early. But I could make every attempt.
And that she can back you up, and if this is something that you're interested in, I think that would be appropriate. And you're keeping score.
Yep. Okay. And I hope Vicki is too. We'll compare notes in the morning.
Okay. In regards to the EDA, EDC, Economic Development Commission, Matt had previously served on that, and that meets on the second Thursdays at 11:45. Now, they typically meet over in Blacksburg, correct?
They usually meet at the Corporate Research Center, and it's usually a lunch meeting, I believe.
Yes. I think I did that for about 10 years or something like that.
How long does their meetings last?
They usually over 1:15. It's usually not a long meeting.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half or so, and they eat lunch.
It's an eating meeting.
Is that something that you think you could do, but you might need someone to back you up? I think we were listed as Matt's backup.
The problem is I need to be gone from there by 1:30.
That would probably work.
Well, and in all honesty, there's quite a few meetings that I go to that when they run long, sometimes people just have to leave.
Yeah.
So if it's running long, you could...
And then if we have an early release, that would be when I'd have to have a backup.
Well, that's okay. You would leave before 1:30, really.
For early
releases, I have to be back in the bus by 11 o'clock. So.
Yeah.
So I would be happy to be your backup in regards to that.
Okay. I'll do that.
All right. Next is the Fairview District Home Board, and Annette, you currently serve on that. Is that
along with Carol?
And Carol, and then
Yes.
Todd has been your backup. Are y'all? Is anyone interested? It changes. Todd's happy. Are you happy in that? Is anybody?
It only meets once a quarter, right, Carol?
That's correct. Yes.
And do we give Carol an option about whether she wants to continue to serve? That being said, so we moved past that to legislative liaison. With Mary being the head of ACO at this point in time, I think that would be a natural fit if you're still interested in serving.
Yeah.
And the next is the library board liaison. I know that you've been doing that for a while. Is that something you're still interested in?
Yeah, that's something I'd like to continue if everybody would support me in it. I think it's I know that the director is looking towards eventually retiring, and so that's something that's going to be a big job to fill. And so the library board right now operates so well together. I'd like to remain the liaison if everyone is okay with that.
The next is the MPO, which you are a board member, and then Matt was your alternate, and then the county administrator.
Yes. That meets on, is that the first Thursday
First
of the
Thursday.
month?
Yes, ma'am.
And the only thing I really had trouble with on that one is that I have to be sure that I leave Peppersbury at an appropriate time. I like those. I tried to get Gary to be on the MPO for the for Roanoke, but I didn't quite convince him that's something he should do because he's from Ellison. But anyway, I don't mind this one if I can get there in time.
Matt had been your backup.
Yeah.
You can't?
I can't. I have the Town of Blacksburg's Housing Board meets that exact same time on the first Thursday. So,
is there anyone else that could be her backup?
Was that the one where we all put our names down as a backup?
No, that was the Roanoke.
Oh, that was
That's the Roanoke.
That's the Roanoke MPO.
I couldn't remember.
That was the Roanoke one.
Let's see, first Thursday at 2. I mean, I guess first came to worst. I mean, if I have warning, I could maybe do it, but I have to have warning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Craig, you would continue.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to stay on the Montgomery County Improvement Council. Gary, Parks and Rec. Is anybody else interested? I know we've got 2 new members, and I speak up if there's something. Say, hey, listen.
I will.
Okay. Are you comfortable with continuing to serve, or is there somebody who's got?
I'm fine. If somebody wants to they can certainly have it.
Looks like it's all yours.
Parks and Rec.
I would like to continue to stay on as the Planning Commission. I know that there's another board that I'm hoping to be a part of, and that's the Fire and Rescue, but sometimes they conflict periodically. But I would like to continue, or if there's someone else who would like, I'm willing to step aside. They meet 2 to 3 times a month. Sometimes it's only one. The meetings sometimes can be really short, or they can be 4 hours. I'm happy to continue to serve. And
I didn't have to cover for you very often, Chris, but would that be something that...
I'd love to cover for you if you can't.
Sure.
Okay. Or if you're wanting to...
No, but I would love to be an alternate.
Okay.
And I'll say the same thing that Mary said, if at all possible, just to give notice so I can plan for the kids for the evening. But yeah, I'd love to be your alternate for that.
All right. So we've got that down. We're all get to ride around and look at the roads. And is that
soon?
Yeah. And is that something that everybody agrees with? Okay. And are you satisfied with staying on the Transportation Safety Commission, Gary?
Oops, you skipped over the school.
Well, that's sort of like we don't have that anymore, but...
The Transportation Safety Commission has... the general thing they've gotten where they don't...
Meet very frequently?
Meet very often. So several times I've been there and nobody's there. So...
Do you mind continuing to serve?
I will.
On the list, we're not showing school liaison on on the piece of paper we passed around, we had a school liaison.
Oh, I apologize.
No, that's
Up at the top.
Supervisor Gabriel had done that previously, and then about a year or so ago,
2 years. Yeah.
2 years ago, he mentioned that he just didn't feel that there was a need, and we really didn't appoint anybody else.
Well,
So
it was
that's-
when the school board became, when they started having their meetings taped, Matt felt like that people could watch the meetings. Now, I have heard from different individuals that, sometimes like some people are really good about watching the meetings and others aren't. And I can tell you as somebody that actually went to every school board meeting probably from 1980 all the way up till Matt took it, that it is a big time commitment because their meetings are, they have 2 meetings a month, and they have budget meetings, and they have other meetings occasionally, and they're long. But on the other hand, I think that the presence of someone like Ms. Froggatt is here tonight, I think it's a good sort of, something to have. It's just a big responsibility when one person does it.
Are you
If they're going to
thinking that maybe
attend.
2 people could try to do it?
It would be nice, to have, it's just, it's hard, and it is hard to cover every one of them, I don't know.
I watch, and I'll say, I watch the ones that I feel like there's an important issue, and I'll sit down and try to watch the videos, and I'm very appreciative that the board does that. But at the same time, I also think the personal interaction is an important factor. So is there folks who are willing to serve on the school board as far as the liaison?
Would it be something that we, I don't know how we'd organize it, but it would be something that we could take turns doing, or?
I think so.
I think that's a good idea.
Because then not one person would get so overwhelmed, or?
We could break it up. I think they meet twice a month like we do. Now, in the summer months, I think they take several months off because they don't have as many issues that
They
come.
take July off.
Oh, okay. I said,
They're there June and August.
okay. And so, is there some folks, is there some folks who are willing to be able to give up that kind of time commitment? They meet on Tuesdays?
On Tuesdays, I mean, I would volunteer to go to some of them if other people would help. Can you help, Daryl, on that?
Yeah, I'd go to some of them. I can't go to all.
Is there anyone else that would be able to go to any of the meetings?
I can go to some as part of a team of us rotating. At a certain point, my kids are going to revolt. So.
Do you think that the 3 of you could alternate between meetings, and then would that be something that the 3 of you could do and communicate?
Well, I could
Yeah,
help
if
you.
we have all 4 people doing it in 2 meetings a month, that's one of us going every 2 months to a meeting and going.
Well, I was going to say, and maybe even I'd go to January, you go to February, she goes to March.
Yeah.
It just depends because night times sometimes are difficult for me to go to unless I find somebody for my husband. So I don't mind, being one of the rotating group.
Let's set you forward for the liaisons. If there is a time period where everybody can't go, then let us know and say, so then that puts the responsibility of trying to watch the video, try to have that contact.
Or if somebody else wanted to just step forward, like if Todd wanted, or Gary, or you wanted to step forward for a meeting.
I would be happy to try.
Quiet, Todd. You don't want to do much, do you?
There's a lot of whispering going on that end of it.
I told them they had to behave.
Let's split them 2 up.
So am I hearing that the 4 of y'all, or do we want to appoint everyone to be the liaison and try to share that burden?
I'd put everybody down.
Yeah, let's put everybody down, and then everyone can experience the joy of going to a school board meeting and learning.
If you go a week and I'll go 1 week.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Whatever y'all want to do.
But would that put some obligations on us to communicate?
Yep.
To say who's got it?
There you go.
So there is that, and maybe if Vicki could try to herd the cats
that loud enough?
And help us with the scheduling, that would be helpful. Now, I missed the liaison, and...
That was the only difference.
Okay, and so then we've got the Transportation Safety Commission, who Gary had already done, and then the Virginia Tech liaison, that would be...
It's traditionally been me, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now, am I missing some?
Yeah.
Did we do the Fairview Home Incorporated Board of Directors?
We did.
That's traditionally been Carol, and I think...
Okay. Sorry, I just missed it as we were going through it.
That's on the Fairview District.
Yeah.
Board.
Yeah.
And then
the Board of Directors and the Fairview Home Board I've been on, but those two boards meet at the
Same time, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I was looking through.
All right, so we've gotten through, I want to make sure we're looking at the board appointments, and then...
And just to clarify too, because it's confusing to me every year as well. And Vicki made a note on here. Any board or commission that we didn't talk about in the above resolution are not annual appointments. The Community Services Board, Fire and Rescue, NBC Development, there's quite a few are 4-year appointments, and we deal with those at various times. If a board member is not reelected, then we address it. If a board member is reelected and they're already serving a term, then it doesn't change. But these are the annual appointments that we just covered.
Right. And there's no time limit. I mean, no term limit. You could serve on the board from now to forever
if you want to.
So do we need, Marty, at this point in time, is there a motion to adopt those appointments?
Yes. We ain't done it.
So is there a motion to appoint a motion to adopt the appointments that we have discussed?
Motion.
And a second?
Second. Third.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
And I'll give Vicki my notes tomorrow to make sure we got the same thing. So.
Wait, we've got video. So there
Oh, we
go.
do have video. This is true.
All right, and then I think the next are the two positions that were 4-year appointments or annual appointments that are come empty because of they've been vacated. Is that correct?
I think so. Yes, sir.
There's one still, two actually that I know.
All right.
Marshall, Montgomery Road Solid Waste Authority, and Dublin Solid Waste.
I think you've already...
They are already, I've got about 2 more months, 2 more years on them.
Right, so those are not on this because we're only looking, I guess, at this point in time on some that bill.
Right, the annual ones or where a board member is not continuing to serve.
Now, as far as the Western Regional Jail, when do they meet?
They meet the first Thursday of each month at 9 o'clock. And I serve on that board as the county administrator. Carol is my alternate. Sheriff Parton serves on that board. And then there's an elected board member that serves and an elected board member that's an alternate. And that has previously been Chair Brown was the board member and Supervisor Creed was the alternate.
And again, that's during the day, which makes it very difficult for me. Is there a board member who, one, is interested or two, willing?
Now, what day was that?
It's the first Thursday of each month at 9 o'clock at the regional jail down at Dixie Caverns. So it's about a 15-minute ride.
You want to do it?
Just see if you want to do it.
You don't have, you can do it.
Well, since Mr. Creed was the alternate, are you interested in being the representative since you've had some experience with it?
Well, actually, I never had any experience. You know, he never missed
Okay.
one the whole time he was in it. So.
Who, Bill?
Yeah.
He was pretty faithful on that one.
Well,
Are you willing to move up? And
It gets into some of the things that I've already got. So.
yeah.
Well, if nobody wants to do it, I'll do it. If she wants to do it, she can do it.
No, I already have a meeting. The Peppersbury.
Me too.
Peppersbury meets on the first Thursday of the month.
So, Gary, would you be willing to be Todd's backup?
It's not a matter of, I've got 2 different appointments on 2 different days.
Okay, so that day you've got, because is that the Regional Waste Authority that meets at the same day? Is there, with your bus schedule, that doesn't work for you?
Can't be there, I can't get there.
Is there anyone else who is interested to be Todd's backup?
Are you going to be faithful, Todd, about going like Bill?
Okay, occasionally when there's no business, they cancel the meeting. So we probably canceled 3 or 4 over the last year, maybe. So it's not quite every other.
Do you
month.
want to do it?
I could be your. You can't do it.
No.
I mean, if you would be a faithful person and go to most all the meetings, I could be your backup. But you
Somebody
gotta
cut her mic off.
You gotta be faithful.
In other words, you cannot be absent.
Well, that's me.
All right, so if do I hear that Mr. King, is there a motion to make Mr. King the board member and Ms. Biggs the alternate?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'd say second.
Would Madam Clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Right.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye, as long as Todd is faithful.
Mr. Moss?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Next up is the Fire and Rescue Commission. Bill has served on that, and then it is something that I have a great deal of respect for the folks who volunteer in our county. The dedication that they show on a regular basis, 30 hours, many of them 50, 60 hours that they give every month. And so I would be honored if y'all would consider me for the Fire and Rescue Commission.
You gonna be faithful?
I'm gonna be faithful.
Okay, I nominate Mr. Tuck to the Fire and Rescue Commission.
Second.
Well, you said that awful fast.
I didn't say it, he did.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Perkins?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Moss?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
Next matter is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act Consortium Board.
I used to be on that for,
It used to be the WIB board, now that's the WOYA board.
I know. I don't know how many years I did that. We traveled to Whitfield.
As I understand it from just talking with Bill, it's a pretty important board.
It is a very important board.
Yep.
They've really changed it and made it into something that's really important. The community college works now with, workplace development too. So there's a lot going on in that particular.
Mary, is that something that you would consider as, and it seems like it would connect in well with the VACO, but is that something that you would be willing to do?
When does this thing meet? Isn't it, because it seems like to me, well, I think Bill was involved in leadership, that's why he had to make extra meetings, but when does this thing meet?
Let's see if it's
Yeah,
in
I'm
the-
looking at the letter and it doesn't say.
Because
It meets,
It's a quarter.
I want to say, I don't know, it meets frequently. I know that because
I mean, is it once a month or is it, or do we know?
we don't know anymore, but I know when I was on it, it was primarily once or twice a month that we met. And you
when-
have to drive to Whitfield.
And when did you meet? Like,
Isn't it usually around, I was thinking that's another eating meeting, so I was thinking it was.
No, it was the middle of the day, actually. It was morning and middle of the day.
Is it possible to hold the appointment until we can find out the meeting schedule? Because it's hard to commit to meeting if...
Well, we should have it on our, do you have it, Vicki?
It's not on the letter that they're asking.
Yeah, they didn't.
It's not in the tab.
I don't see it as well.
It's not on there?
I'm looking to see
And
if
it's
I
hard
can
to-
find it online.
Commit to going
Yeah,
to a
if you
meeting
just-
when you don't know
No,
when it is.
And how often it's going to be.
Right.
made.
Yeah, if you just put it in there, shouldn't it be on the, in our emails somewhere?
I'm looking on the website, but I'm not finding it.
Well, there are two boards. One is the Workforce Investment Board, and the other one is the, whatever it is, WIN Board.
Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act
Right,
Consortium Board.
Right. There's one there that has elected officials, Joe Sheffy and a lot of people.
David Hutchins from Carroll
Yeah.
County was the
That's right.
chair.
And there are people from our district and also Mount Rogers district on that board, or were.
Can we table it until our next meeting 2 weeks from tonight to find out the meeting schedule?
I would just simply pass it. I think if we table it,
Yeah, we can
Okay, so,
delay it to the next
delaying
next
action.
meeting. Yeah, instruct the staff to put it back on it to whenever that next.
Yeah, especially with as important as it is. I'd hate to think somebody commit to it and then not be able to make it.
okay, so we're leaving the tradition is the board chair doing it and the county administrator being the alternate. Is that the tradition? But that interferes with what you're doing, Chris?
It does. As someone who, and like I said, because I'm a trial attorney, the courts typically don't, it's just like today. I ended up in a hearing that went until about 5:15 and made it here from Giles County by 6. But it was pressing, and so you had to finish up. It makes it difficult during the day if a judge says, well, what do you have? If you've got court someplace else, they're very understanding. If they say, you got a meeting? No, I'm more important than a meeting. And so obviously when a judge tells you to be there, you have to.
I'm trying to think when that meeting, oh gosh.
So I would just say, indicate that we would pass over this and then
we'll
take it up
we'll
at
find out.
our next meeting.
I mean, if it's a once a month thing, it might be able to. But if you're talking about running up and down the road, every week, no, I don't want to do that.
No, you don't run up and down the road every week, but.
Because I've been running up and down the road for all these others.
Yes.
So, yeah. But, I mean, if it was a once a month thing, I could probably handle that.
So
Most of the time it is once a month, but it depends.
We'll drop Marty Holiday works. That's what I was
Yeah.
looking. We'll drop her a note in the morning
Okay.
and find out the
Well,
schedule.
just let me know.
and let
and
y'all
then,
know.
Okay.
Subject F, resolution for monetary support for the Dialogue on Race annual event.
I'll move that.
Second.
There's a second. Any discussion? Would Madam Clerk please call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Ms. Biggs?
Aye.
Mr. Motts?
Aye.
Mr. Shepherd?
Aye.
Ms. Perkins?
Aye.
Mr. Creed?
Aye.
Chair Tuck?
Aye.
7 ayes.
County Attorney's Report.
No report, Mr. Chair.
County Administrator's Report.
Mr. Chair, just a couple of items. I have a budget calendar. Believe it or not, it's that time again.
No, I can't wait.
This is the budget calendar for the upcoming fiscal year 17 budget. The blocks in blue are our regular board meetings. You'll notice in March that we're also proposing meetings on March 7th, which we've traditionally done before the PSA meeting. And then March 21st will be a work session to discuss the proposed budget and establish the advertised tax rate and budget. So we've got a meeting every night for you in March, and then
Every Monday.
There's not much on television on Monday nights in March, so we'll keep you here. There is one other special meeting on April 7th, and that is the public hearing on the advertised tax rate and budget. So Want to get this out to you so you could mark your calendar accordingly. Really, January and February are just standard meetings. March and April's when we have a couple of extra ones. But and of course, as we go through the process, if you need more than what's on here, we can schedule those too. But meant to hand that out when we did the budget public hearing, but slipped my mind. Carol reminded me. Thank you. Wanted to welcome you two to the group. I know that you attended VACO last week, and Daryl and April, we're glad to have you on board. And Chris and Gary, congratulations on your appointment. Look forward to working with you. We do have a number of meetings coming up associated with some of the items we appointed you to, or you appointed yourselves to earlier. We'll work to get a calendar out and make sure that folks know that you're the group, know who's on which group, so they can get the information to you as soon as possible. One thing I did want to remind you, and we mentioned this back before the holidays, is Friday afternoon, evening on February 5th and Saturday, February 6th. We have worked to set up a planning work session for the board to talk about your goals and priorities for 2016. Have not determined where that will be yet. We have had it here in the past, but we may look at trying to do it elsewhere if we can find a nice room that doesn't cost anything. So I'm working on that. But please mark your calendars for the 5th and the 6th. And
the hours?
We'll probably start around 3:30 or 4 on that Friday and go into the early evening. Well, I say early evening, probably 8 or 8:30. And then we will start at 8 or 8:30 on Saturday and go till you're finished. Mike Chandler, was Mike one of the presenters at the new Supervisors Forum?
There were like 100 presenters.
Mike Chandler, who many moons ago was on the town council in Blacksburg, but also was a professor at Tech and has facilitated a number of work sessions for folks over the years, has agreed to be the facilitator, and Mike will do a fabulous job. He's very well versed at working with elected officials, so we'll get you more information on that as that comes out. Last thing I wanted to mention, I did get a call from the Roanoke County Administrator last week wanting to know if our board had any discussion of the potential closing of Catawba Hospital over in Roanoke County, and if we wanted to take a position. I know Roanoke County's board is considering a resolution in opposition to that proposed closing. I believe Craig County also has addressed it. This is the mental health facility there that's in the Catawba area that has been proposed to be closed as part of the budget presentation by Governor McAuliffe. I told him I had not had a chance to talk to you, but I would see what the thoughts were, and if there was interest, I'd bring it back to a future board meeting.
Absolutely.
I think we should bring it back.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to see some kind of model resolution, just like on the other.
Absolutely.
I would as well, and in this day and time, we need all the beds that we can for those who have mental health issues.
Absolutely.
So,
yep. We'll take care of it. Mr. Chair, that's all I have. Thank you.
all right, Supervisor Creed.
No, have not.
Supervisor King.
Well, I'd just like to say I appreciate everybody that come out to the meeting tonight and got involved with their community. And we had a good discussion what they did with us, and I appreciate them coming out, taking time away from their families to be here. Number two is I want to thank Craig for everything he does for the county. Starting off fresh this year, bless your heart, we'll be busy. And the first Saturday of February is Roanoke Fire Department's annual oyster and turkey supper deal, so if you can come out, please come out.
Do you know where we can get tickets? Sign
What
me
was
up.
the date?
We can actually, think about it, just leave our meeting, go there, have dinner.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
And then Todd will be one of the folks serving us out there, so
Woohoo!
It's the 6th.
February 6th.
February the 6th. Yeah, we'll make sure the planning session's done in plenty of time to get you there.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Supervisor Biggs.
Well, first of all, I want to just say that I'm really happy that, we have Daryl and we have April on our board, and I'm going to look forward to enjoying working with both of you. It's always good to have new faces, and you guys, I think, I'm so excited you went to the VACO training too, but anyway. And I want to congratulate Chris and Gary on their leadership positions, and anything that, I can do to help you, I would be more than happy to do. And let's see, we covered the Catawba Hospital, I had that down. And I guess we're going to cover in the future going out to our Strands meetings, our community meetings, I had that down. So I guess sometime we'll be addressing that. One thing I wanted to mention, resolutions for Coach Beamer and Sarah Woolsey and Joe Ivers that we need to, get worked on so that we can have those done and presented.
They'll be on the next agenda.
And then I guess I was going to ask this question, for the folks that came out tonight and all the emails we received. I have not answered my emails yet. I knew that people would come out tonight and want to hear what they had to say, but I guess what my question would be at this point is, do we need some kind of clarification about, I don't know if everyone understands exactly how the constitutional offices work, what the Board of Supervisors part in all this is, how how we have members in all our constitutional, well, no, I don't know if they're in all the constitutional officers, but they're on the county pay plan. And this happened many, many years ago when we were having trouble keeping our deputies, because we would hire deputies and we would train them, and that cost money, and then they would go to Virginia Tech or Christiansburg or Blacksburg. And so one of the things we tried to do in order, especially with the deputies, this seemed to be where it was really happening. One of the things we tried to do was, how can we as a board help to retain the deputies? And so this is way back in the Jeff Johnson era that we came up with the idea that possibly we could have people put on the county pay plan, and that's how they were put on the county pay plan if their department agreed with it. And that's the only overlap that I really see in all of this. And I just wondered if there needs to be some clarification made, if not tonight, then at a later time, about this issue, because I know that a lot of people came out tonight about the issue, and I don't know if everyone understands exactly with the state of Virginia and the way we have things set up in this state. It is confusing at times. And so I guess my question would be, does there need to be any clarification tonight about, I got the impression from some of the speakers that they thought that we could do something, and they alluded that we could do something, and I just wanted to know, should we clear this up, or what are we going to do?
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, and it's going to come up in my report, is that perhaps for our next meeting in a closed session, Marty could give us an idea of what the legal options are, what our roles are, and then coming out of that meeting, perhaps share what the roles are of the constitutional officers. And that was one of the things I was hoping to bring up during my report, in regards to looking at what we can and cannot do, and what steps we can and cannot take.
I'd be interested in that being completely open from day one, the presentation to us possibly occurring in a public forum.
And I was thinking about that, and one of the things that if we have a constitutional officer and we are looking at steps that we might be able to take. One of the things I wanted the legal information is that a personnel matter that we should be taking up in closed session? Or is that an issue that we should be taking up in public? And I wanted to give Marty the opportunity to look at that issue and to make that legal determination, to give us advice as to whether he should give us, and if he's comfortable in briefing us in public, and then regardless, briefing what the constitutional officers are and what steps we can take in an open forum, perhaps 2 presentations. One to us, if there's anything that needs to be reserved, and then the second to the general public. Marty, is that something?
Yeah, I think that's something we can look at, and then we'll communicate that with the board.
Yeah. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Supervisor Perkins.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because that was one of the things that I wanted to ask Marty. Remember when the fellow got up and said he had a petition with 10% of the names, and you present that to the clerk of the court?
And I don't do election law, and I don't know that Marty does. I did have had numerous emails, and someone sent me the code. As I understand it, that's something that's generated by the citizens. That is not something that's generated by this board. The citizens sign that petition. Then, and again, Marty, I don't know if you looked at it all. I got several people who sent me a copy of the code section, and one of the things I promised 4 years ago is not to practice law while I was sitting on the board, but I did look at the code section, and as I interpret it, if there is the signatures, then the Commonwealth's attorney of the county represents the petitioners before the circuit court.
Yeah, it's not a recall election in Virginia. It's a recall, in essence, trial. If they have to get 10% of the registered voters they have to get 10% of the registered voters have to sign a petition that equals 10% of the amount of people who voted in the clerk's election. And if they get that petition and it's certified by the circuit court judge, then he will have a trial. And like Mr. Tuck said, the Commonwealth attorney is responsible for prosecuting that. And the purpose of the trial is to determine whether the clerk should be removed for cause. And the statute lists what those causes are, or may be. They're a little bit general, but mainly for misuse of office. If they commit some type of criminal offenses, drugs, anything of that nature is listed. I'm trying to think what else, but it's pretty specific but general in trying to how to prove that. And so,
well, I just wondered if that gentleman was being correct in what he said, and if you could find out for us, which is really, in essence, I'd like just to know what we can do.
Yeah, I could talk about that. But I think basically what he said, that he being this, I think he was the second guy who spoke.
Mr. Willis, I think.
I think he was, at least the way I understand it. I've only looked at it a little bit, but I'll look at it more. So he was correct in his statement.
Okay. I just wanted to know that for myself. I was appreciative of the people coming tonight. I think they felt that we could do a lot more than we could. So I think what Chris has suggested is a good thing. And I think it needs, and Mary suggested that the people should know. And I firmly agree with that, and April too. So I agree that it should be out there in the public so people know what we can and cannot do. I guess I know this is an issue which has involved a lot of people. I guess my old school days when I was on the school board came back to me, because I know in those instances we don't discuss personnel, specific people, individuals, and personnel issues. That is right, Connie, right? Uh-huh. And so, I'm okay. I did notice that most of the people said that they got their information from the newspapers. So that says to me that newspapers are still an important source for information, as well as TV and what have you. But I'm okay with listening to individuals who have deep concerns about certain things. I just want to be sure that they understand that there are some things we can do and some things we cannot do. And then I do want to say congratulations to Chris and to Gary. I know that while I've been on this board for 18 years, the other person with the longest standing is Ms. Biggs. She got here 2 years before I did. But we all work together as a board none of us, not one of us, is able to give an opinion of the board unless the board has done it. And so I'm looking forward to working with everybody. That's the new people. And you won't be new for very long, though. And with the people who've always been here. And I thank you, Chris, for your willingness to serve. And Gary, too. I mean, it's a big job. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that we operate as a board out there, not us. We know how we operate, but make sure that people who are in the audience know that we operate as a board. That doesn't mean we agree on everything, but it does mean that we operate as a group. And once the decision is made, it's made. And that's it. We move forward and we go on. And I was in the lab this morning I had to have some blood taken for a doctor's appointment. And on the, the side of a cabinet there or something, I saw this sentence. It said, "Don't let your yesterday interfere with your today." Right? So, take charge of your today, which means you move on. And that to me was an interesting quote. I'm not sure I gave it exactly right, Craig, but I know you were telling me that you heard that too.
I think it said, don't let your yesterday take up too much of your
time of
day
your
today.
Right. And then I agree with Mary about Catawba. I am so concerned. I learned this weekend about my daughter-in-law's brother who has a child that just, I guess he's 10 or 11, and he has the ability and mentality of a 2.5-year-old. And the problems that they're having with him. I don't know, in Virginia, I'm concerned that I know we have a community-based system now that we're looking at, and I know there's real reason for that, but there is a great need, I think, for hospitalization or for residential care, and it's always bothered me that, I remember lots of times that my dad had a brother that came back from World War I with what we call shocked, but he was mentally. So anyway, I won't bore you with those kinds of things, but I am so glad that you're willing to look at those resolutions and see what can be done. And let's say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the people who have served. And I look forward to not letting my yesterday take up too much of my today.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Supervisor Shepherd.
I just wanted to follow up with the issue that was raised tonight to us. Is there any way that we could get a general consensus email to send to the people that have emailed us, or would one of you be willing to answer all of those with a...
I'm going to answer it from my perspective, and when I send out an email, if you're, sometimes you'll see, and I know that you guys are, Ms. Biggs will say, I agree with Mr. Tuck, or I agree with Mr. Creed in that response, and I think what he says is correct. But you really do speak for yourself in regards to that. And one of the things I was hoping that Marty would be able to do in a couple of weeks is to provide us, here's what the facts are. And perhaps maybe something that you can copy and say, here's what the law is and what Marty provided us, and forward an email to him. So it's the legal analysis, and then here's what I think about it. and you can always add that to the response.
I was just afraid we'd get into a situation where you said one thing and I said something else, and it was basically the same but different, and somebody would say, but he said.
And there are always going to be that, but it's hard to get a consensus because I may feel differently on one part of the issue than you do or than that Gary does, and so as a board in the past, unless we all say, okay, Mary's speaking for the board, you're speaking for yourself, has been what we've traditionally done. I don't know if that helps you much, but I just did not have a lot of time to be able to respond. I was getting a lot of phone calls, and that was burning up my time. Yes?
I don't know if this would help, but I think I understand what Daryl's trying to get at because, you know, and especially with you being a new board member, but basically sort of where we are now is you, I like to always acknowledge that the person that sent me the email, that let them know I got it, okay? And then based on our conversation tonight, what we might be able to say is, you know, during our discussion under board member reports, staff is going to come back with information for us in a couple of weeks, and we'll be looking at that information. So that lets your constituents or citizens know, okay, hey, you know, they got my email, you know, they had a meeting, and they're going to come back, you know, at a later time. And I think that's sort of where we are now. And then I think what you're saying, Chris, is if you want to add some kind of comment about your own feelings about it, but if, you know, if you just feel comfortable, like with the facts are, I got your email, we had discussion, and staff is coming back at our next board meeting with information. And does that help you? You could just sort of.
I can do it. You know, I don't have a problem writing an email at all.
And I'm working with, I have a new intern who's helping me work with Siri, has that voice recognition to help you quickly get out emails. Now, I'm not saying I'm good with it yet, but that is helping me some in being able to respond. But one of the things I think is helpful is hitting reply all. So I can see what you sent. It does help us to get a view. And I know sometimes that doesn't work. But also, I would say to the new board members, send a CC to Ruth, because she needs to know what we're saying, because she's going to get calls from the press. If there's legal issues involved, CC Marty so he can see what you've done. And Craig's here to help all of us, and CC him. So that way we can really, and if it's budget matters, nothing against Craig, but Carol's a great person, and especially if it's something that happened 15 years ago, Carol remembers it and will be able to tell you exactly what happened. And so those are all, at least for me, good tips to be able to help you as a supervisor.
And one more thing I just wanted to say, with kind of in line with that, I'd like to thank everybody that's helped me get my feet off the ground and kind of get started, and making me feel like I'm already part of it and not a newbie. Just say thank you.
Supervisor DeMontz.
Yes. First, I want to start by saying how excited and nervous I was for tonight's meeting, and this was a big one to start with. It was really great to hear the citizens' comments, so I know everybody's left by now, but I would like to state that I really appreciated everybody coming out. Another thing that I found especially exciting was Vicky's roll call votes. They're very unpredictable, and that kept me on my toes. That was really fun. I couldn't figure out the order, so thank you for that. I'm very much looking forward to working with both you, Chris, and you, Gary, in the chair and vice chair position. I think we've got a very strong board, and I look forward to working with you both. Wanted to also mention that Daryl and I attended a VACO newly elected supervisors conference this weekend in Richmond and had some super long days packed full of information. We learned about things like ethics and conflict of interest, land use, meeting procedures, Freedom of Information Act, budgeting, transportation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I really appreciate the county putting both of us in a position where we were able to travel and and get the training needed so we could come in tonight and be effective from day one on the board. Finally, I wanted to just reiterate some of the points that others have made about looking for information from Marty. I would really like to, if we do have a closed session, I would like to also see that be part of some information that is publicly given as soon as possible, because people really need to hear that.
Right.
And I guess in close, it's been a great meeting tonight. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all very much for the open arm welcome I've received as a part of this group. It's been wonderful, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Well, that leaves it up to me. The hour is late. They won't all be this late, but there's going to be some. I want to thank all the speakers that came tonight. That meant a lot to me to hear from our citizens about what's going on. On a personal level, as a board member who is a practicing attorney, it was very difficult to see 5 people lose their jobs and simply be terminated when you have worked with 2 of them for your entire legal career. To know Mr. Worrell and to see him interact with the public, he was just a great ambassador for the Montgomery County. I was very, from my perspective, disappointed in the clerk's actions. That being said, on a more positive note, I want to welcome both April and Daryl. I think both of you are going to bring some new perspectives to our board. I think you're going to make us better, build upon what the previous board members have done. But there's a special thing that both Daryl and I can say is our great uncle served on this board, Uncle Ira. And Daryl and I share that. And that's something that I don't know that happens every once in a while, that cousins serve on the board, but I'm looking forward to serving with my cousin. I look forward to working with all of you and trying to be a fair board chair. As I said earlier, not to cut you off, to give you the opportunity to speak, but when the hour is late, I'm going to call it, this meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Gary.